Chapter 11-12 Void and Fierce Sun, subscription requested. The red-clad girl looked at Lin Yuan, with 1,000 words in her heart, but ultimately swallowed them all. You're very good. The red-clad girl spoke truthfully. So good that she couldn't find any faults. That's good to hear. Lin Yuan nodded. CTH Nefire. Et website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. At least so far, there hadn't been any major issues with the second layer of his cultivation of infinite void. If the master wants to measure the progress of the internal universe cultivation, you can use this method. The red-clad girl began to speak. What method? Lin Yuan's eyes brightened a bit. Whether it's the first layer of infinite void, the second layer, or even the third layer and fourth layer afterwards. Essentially, it's about breaking down the most basic constituent particles of the internal universe and then recombining them in a more complete or even perfect way. This is also why Lin Yuan had to comprehend over 3,000 methods of cosmic construction during the test with the Jade Gourd. The essence of infinite void is to replace the initial construction of the internal universe. And to ensure internal universe stabilization, during the recombination of the particles at the most microcosmic level of internal universe, everything is done bit by bit. In other words, when he fully masters the second layer of infinite void, Lin Yuan cannot determine what stage he has actually reached. He will only find that the internal universe becomes more and more stable, and its foundation becomes more and more solid. Until the second layer is fully mastered, and the internal universe undergoes its final transformation. Please take a look, Master. The red-clad girl flipped her hand, and a piece of metal several meters in size flew out from the jade gourd. The surface of this metal had a dark golden hue, faintly emitting an aura of immortality. This is immortal fine gold. The red-clad girl briefly introduced, it's a special material. Its only characteristic is hardness, and it's very hard to destroy. Immortal fine gold? Lin Yuan carefully examined the piece of dark golden metal not far away. He had never heard of this type of metal, but since the red-clad girl took it out, it must have originated from the creator of the Infinite Void legacy. It was natural for Lin Yuan not to have heard of it. With the foundation of your internal universe, Master, if you fully harness the power of the internal universe and suppress this piece of immortal fine gold, as long as you can leave a mark with a depth of 0.5 meter on its surface, then you're very close to mastering the second layer. By then, your internal universe will be considered the strongest under chaos stage perfection. The red-clad girl said. This is the standard she set after assessing the various foundations of Lin Yuan's internal universe. Lin Yuan's internal universe accumulation is much stronger than what is theoretically expected for a cultivator of infinite void. The red-clad girl had sensed this as soon as she came in. Normally, even after absorbing and refining the first 7 kinds of liquid in the jade gourd, and with chaos void origin infusion, it would be hard to have such a vast internal universe upon entering the 12th layer for the first time. Only 0.5 meter in depth? Lin Yuan looked at the piece of immortal fine gold. After entering the ruler realm, coupled with his recent cultivation in infinite void, all aspects of Lin Yuan's internal universe had surged tremendously. A new venerable like the 9 profound venerable could be crushed into powder with just a breath if they fell into Lin Yuan's internal universe. Before entering the ruler realm, the 9 profound venerable could still survive even after being enveloped by Lin Yuan's physical body divine ability world, but now it's basically impossible. With Lin Yuan's current foundation, even at the peak of chaos realm, it would be difficult to withstand a self-explosion of the internal universe. But now, he only needed to leave a 0.5 meter deep mark on this piece of immortal fine gold? Let me try. Lin Yuan slightly moved his thoughts. Instantly, the infinite origin within the internal universe began to operate, and the space-time around the dark golden metal started to faintly twist and collapse. Buzz. The surface of the dark golden immortal fine gold faintly began to dent, and finally, a mark more than 10 centimeters appeared. Lin Yuan continued to exert the power of the internal universe to suppress, but found that further progress was difficult, let alone leaving more marks. The origin fine gold, the deeper it goes, the harder it becomes. The red-clad girl on the side said, You, Master, are already doing quite well to leave a 10-centimeter mark on the surface of origin fine gold. The red-clad girl was sincerely admiring a normal internal universe that had just mastered the first layer of infinite void couldn't even leave a 1-centimeter mark. How long has Lin Yuan been cultivating the second layer of infinite void? Currently, in terms of internal universe, under Chaos Realm perfection, there is rarely any life whose internal universe can compare to yours, Master, including those wondrous life forms. The red-clad girl said. At Chaos Realm perfection, that is the Great Saint's domain, life at this level of Chaos Realm will have a qualitative change, with all aspects surging, including their internal universes. Lin Yuan nodded. There was still a slight regret in his heart. If by the standard of immortal fine gold, leaving a half-meter mark meant the internal universe could be considered the strongest under Chaos Realm perfection, then he still had some distance to go compared to the strongest. Cultivate, cultivate. The true body of Lin Yuan continued to cultivate the second layer of infinite void. Feng Yuan World. Core Defensive Line War. Inside a Class A war machine. A manifestation of Lin Yuan sat cross-legged. The more I comprehend, the smaller I feel. Lin Yuan opened his eyes, looking quite contemplative. The chaos secret patterns contained within the war machine are just a part of the true chaos rule. Even a Class A war machine is only a part, although compared to Class B and Class C war machines, this part is much more complete. Does surpassing the chaos secret patterns contained in a Class A war machine mean containing a complete chaos rule structure? Lin Yuan pondered secretly. War machines beyond Class A can accommodate numerous Great Lord-level experts and perfectly integrate the chaotic evolutionary power of multiple Great Lords into one. The power evolved from the Chaos Rule, which is unique in each case. Every Great Lord's exclusive chaotic evolutionary power differs, even the same Chaos Flame has countless variations. Combining all these chaotic evolutionary powers together? How incredible that would be! If I could comprehend the chaos secret patterns beyond those contained in a Class A war machine, what would it mean for my understanding of the Chaos Rule? Lin Yuan slightly shook his head, abandoning the unrealistic thought. War machines beyond Class A typically appear during all-out wars between the two ancient countries. Such an intense war, with heavenly venerates making their moves and the emperor of the ancient country overseeing the scene, trying to comprehend war machines beyond Class A? At least it requires the consent of the ancient country emperor. However, I can already replicate the chaos secret patterns contained in the war machine within the chaos void. As long as enough materials are assembled, I can completely replicate a war machine in the chaos void. Lin Yuan thought to himself, realizing that the Red Pine King assumed it would be difficult for him to grasp even the chaos secret patterns of a Class C war machine. But in fact, in this period, Lin Yuan had comprehended around 80 to 100 war machine secrets. He has grasped most of the chaos secret patterns from Class C war machines. Of course, Lin Yuan naturally wouldn't spread this information externally. Just as Lin Yuan was about to continue comprehending the chaos secret patterns, his heart stirred. The fierce sun opens the heavens divine ability imprint has been fully comprehended. A smile appeared on Lin Yuan's face. The seventh physical body divine ability, fierce sun opens the heavens, is undoubtedly the most powerful among the physical body divine abilities awakened by Lin Yuan. To use this divine ability within the chaos void, Lin Yuan devoted most of his mind and effort to comprehending this divine ability. Even though comprehending these chaos secret patterns is greatly beneficial for enhancing the understanding of the chaos rule, Lin Yuan did not go all out and instead focused most of his energy on comprehending the divine ability imprint. Fierce sun opens the heavens. Lin Yuan finally felt at ease, worried that before comprehending this divine ability he might suddenly perish and die completely in this Feng Yuan world, preventing this divine ability from being brought to the chaos void. Chaos void. Lin Yuan was cultivating the second layer of infinite void. Lin Yuan opened his eyes, and strands of power began to intertwine and weave in front of him, eventually forming an incomparably complex and mysterious divine ability imprint. This is the fierce sun opens the heavens divine ability? Lin Yuan felt delighted, as comprehending the corresponding divine ability imprint meant the physical body divine ability was universally applicable among many true bodies. Let's test if it can be integrated with the inner universe. Lin Yuan immediately began to attempt. Before comprehending the fierce sun opens the heavens divine ability imprint, Lin Yuan had already thought about this. However, without fully understanding the divine ability imprint, he couldn't entirely replicate this physical body divine ability, so it remained just a thought and hardly realizable. But now, since the divine ability imprint has been fully understood, he can verify his hypothesis. First, try it on a manifestation. Lin Yuan did not attempt it within the inner universe of his true body, worrying that if any accident occurred, even with life-saving means, the collapse of the inner universe of the true body would be a significant loss. Using a manifestation is much more convenient. But Lin Yuan's mind slightly moved. A manifestation took form in front of him. At the same time, the inner universe within the manifestation also began to be established. However, compared to the inner universe of the true body and the two primordial spirits, the inner universe of the manifestation was only equivalent to the peak of the master realm. Within the inner universe of the manifestation, Lin Yuan used the divine ability fierce sun opens the heavens to condense the fierce sun origin, illuminating the entire inner universe. The next moment, under the unprecedented fierce sun radiance, the inner universe of the manifestation began rapidly collapsing and destroying. Unable to withstand the fierce sun origin, Lin Yuan immediately identified the problem. The inner universe established by the manifestation was ultimately too weak. Then test on the primordial spirit? Lin Yuan thought to himself that the two primordial spirits also cultivated infinite void, and although not infused multiple times by the chaos void origin, they were stronger than most chaos venerables' inner universes. Let's try it. Even if the inner universe of the primordial spirit collapses, the loss isn't significant. Lin Yuan differentiated a consciousness manifestation, descending into the inner universe of the Taiyin primordial spirit. Fierce sun opens the heavens, condense. At once, a cluster of flames appeared, slowly burning and spreading, illuminating every corner. Rumble. Along with the constant unfolding of the fierce sun origin. Observing all this, Lin Yuan's pupils slightly contracted. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 11:13. Incredible Improvement, Requesting Subscription, within the Taiyin Primordial Spirit's Inner Cosmos. Taiyin energy pervades. This is a universe based on the Taiyin rule, with cold and chill as its main theme. Normally speaking, path-splitting realm experts have already nurtured an inner universe. Its internal rules are perfected and balanced, independent of the real universe. But in reality, all inner universes that are nurtured are based on the insights into their own realm by path-splitting realm experts. And each path-splitting realm expert has different insights into the rules. Each has its own focus. This influences the inner universe. The Taiyin primordial spirit's inner universe is just like this, clearly focused on Taiyin. The Taiyang divine spirit is the same, focused on Taiyang. As for the true self, the fusion of Taiyin and Taiyang, transforming into Taiji, deriving all things, almost without a particular focus. The inner universe of the true self is most similar to the real universe, with myriad rules operating in balance. And at this moment, in the endlessly cold and chilly Taiyin universe, a wisp of flame burns quickly, everything illuminated by the firelight becomes its domain. Light and heat continuously spread, dispelling the cold and chill. The entire Taiyin universe is faintly beginning to undergo some inexplicable transformation. This transformation? The origin source of the Taiyin universe and the origin of the fierce sun seem to form a balance? Lin Yuan's expression slightly changed. The balance between Taiyin and Taiyang can easily form. This is one of the two great foundations of Lin Yuan's Taiji Dao. But Taiyin and fierce sun? CTH Novelfire. Net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. What the Taiyang and Fierce Sun represent are fundamentally different Grand Dao, though both belong to Yang attributes, they are entirely two different directions. However, at this moment, within the Taiyin universe, the omnipresent Taiyin origin is transforming with the origin of the Fierce Sun, forming a more perfect cycle. And this cycle caused the structure of the Taiyin universe to subtly undergo a fundamental metamorphosis, and its stability and the concentration of the origins suddenly soared by a large margin. The origin of the Fierce Sun in the Fierce Sun opens the heavens' divine ability is condensed by me, so the world it finally opens is also my world. But the Taiyin universe is also nurtured by me, essentially also my world. Therefore, the transformation of the Taiyin universe by the origin of the Fierce Sun is very smooth, with virtually no rejection. Lin Yuan watched the firelight illuminated by the origin of the Fierce Sun spreading and expanding in the Taiyin universe, with a look of contemplation. The physical body divine ability Fierce Sun opens the heavens is a divine ability that consumes a tremendous amount, and this Lin Yuan was very sure of when he first awakened this divine ability. With his strength, even if he exhausts his origin, he couldn't maintain this divine ability for long. The root reason lies in the essence of Fierce Sun opens the heavens, which forcibly transforms the ownership of the surrounding world into Lin Yuan's world. The resulting resistance and rejection are the fundamental reasons for the consumption. However, within the Taiyin universe, the surrounding world is originally Lin Yuan's, and as Fierce Sun opens the heavens continuously opened up the world, there was basically no resistance or rejection. So Lin Yuan even felt that as long as he wished, this origin of the Fierce Sun could persist indefinitely. Fusion. The origin of the Fierce Sun is fusing with the Taiyin universe. Lin Yuan observed carefully, detecting this tendency. That is, the origin of the Fierce Sun itself is faintly beginning to integrate into the Taiyin universe. The deeper the fusion, the higher the completeness of the cycle between the origin of the Fierce Sun and the Taiyin universe, and the greater the enhancement to the entire universe. So marvelous! As the creator of the universe, Lin Yuan felt incredibly clear about the numerous changes and transformations occurring during the fusion of the origin of the Fierce Sun and the Taiyin universe. The essence of the origin of the Fierce Sun merging with the Taiyin universe is that the Taiyin universe has also cultivated infinite void, and so it can bear the origin of the Fierce Sun. Lin Yuan thought to himself. Initially, he was condensing the origin of the Fierce Sun within the cosmos of his incarnation. But without any surprises, the inner universe of the incarnation directly collapsed, unable to contain the power of the origin of the Fierce Sun. The origin of the Fierce Sun comes from the physical body divine ability Fierce Sun opens the heavens, and this divine ability is a form of power and ability from the ancestor of Fierce Sun in the source world. Only by the infinite void created by the same 13th layer existence can reach the threshold to contain the origin of the Fierce Sun. For example, wanting to use a piece of tofu to hold an iron needle results in the needle piercing through the tofu. But if an iron box is used to hold the needle, naturally, there's no problem. The Taiyin universe, which has cultivated infinite void, is like the iron box, qualified to bear the iron needle. While Lin Yuan was observing the changes in the Taiyin universe, he was also constantly maintaining the origin of the Fierce Sun suddenly, as the origin of the Fierce Sun burned fiercely and fused with the Taiyin universe's origin, the balance was slightly broken. In an instant, the Taiyin universe began collapsing. The fusion failed? Seeing this scene, Lin Yuan was not surprised. Even when Taiyin and Taiyang, which were naturally the same source, were first merged by Lin Yuan, maintaining the balance was often unsustainable, causing mutual collapse. Much less Taiyin and Fierce Sun? In fact, Taiyin and Fierce Sun, it's not a fusion but a devour. The Taiyin universe's origin is slowly devouring the origin of the Fierce Sun. Lin Yuan's mind stirred, and a new Taiyin primordial spirit was condensed. Compared with the avatars of other 13th layer experts, which require a huge mental and effort cost to cultivate, Lin Yuan's two primordial spirits are much simpler. Recondensing doesn't take much time at all. This is also one of the advantages of the martial arts evolution road, with endless paths in Chaos Void, each having its own strengths and weaknesses. But as in the martial arts evolution road, being able to easily condense primordial spirits is rare. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1114. Incredible Improvement, Requesting Subscription, _2-inch continue. Lin Yuan once again began to condense the source of Taiyin within the Taiyin universe. Lin Yuan knew well that the fusion of the Taiyin universe and fierce sun would be his great opportunity, stemming from the 13th level techniques of two different dimensional spaces. If not for Lin Yuan, the possibility of the two touching, let alone fusing and devouring, would not exist. In the origin source world, cultivators commonly have weak foundations, and most have no concept of an internal universe. Even if there exists a technique like fierce sun opening the sky, it can only be used as a personal defensive or offensive trump card. As for using such techniques to wholly enhance one's own foundational roots, it's essentially unachievable. Even if a rare few powerful individuals in the origin source world have developed a space akin to an internal universe, it's merely space. Without the support of the infinite void, it cannot withstand the presence of the source of fierce Sunday. One might say that what Lin Yuan is doing at this moment is merging the 13th level techniques of two major dimensional spaces, a transformation that even a life form at the 13th level of time could not anticipate. This time, the intensity of the source of fierce sun must be reduced. Lin Yuan began to adjust himself. The recent collapse of the Taiyin universe and the loss of balance with the source of fierce sun was mainly due to the slightly excessive illumination intensity of the source of fierce sun, ultimately breaking the balance. Having learned from the failure, Lin Yuan took a step closer to complete fusion. Time passed day by day. In the chaos void, most of Lin Yuan's true Bodhis energy was focused on the fusion of the Taiyin universe and the source of fierce Sunday. As the pace of fusion accelerated, the rate of improvement of the Taiyin universe startled Lin Yuan. The area of the Taiyin universe expanded madly, and its inherent space-time stability soared. No one knows how much time passed. The Taiyin universe and the source of fierce sun finally fused completely. To be precise, the source of fierce sun became a part of the Taiyin universe. The world formed by fierce sun opening the sky merged with the Taiyin universe's own world. Star-tier fragment world. Lin Yuan sat facing the Taiyin primordial spirit. Most of his mind gathered in the internal universe of the Taiyin primordial spirit. So unbelievable. Lin Yuan watched the current Taiyin universe, where coldness and heat coexisted, and at the center of the universe, a blazing sun ceaselessly emitted infinite light and heat. Compared to ordinary stars, this sun's power is unknown, surpassing manyfold, and it is the core of the entire universe. SAR the Novel Fire. Net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. The current Taiyin universe has a diameter exceeding 10 billion light-years. Lin Yuan gazed down upon the entire Taiyin universe, his eyes slightly amazed. In terms of size and area, the current Taiyin universe is no smaller than the internal universe of his true body. It's important to know that the internal universe of Lin Yuan's true body, even disregarding all other external factors like the infusion of chaos void origin or the suppression of the chaos tree. The perfect foundational Taiji Dao formed by Taiyin and Taiyang alone is far stronger than the mere Taiyin universe. The internal universe of his true body, to be precise, is the Taiji universe. In terms of power, Lin Yuan felt carefully and immediately concluded. It is equally not weaker than the Taiji universe of his true body. Merely one source of fierce sun brought such a significant enhancement? Even Lin Yuan found it somewhat unbelievable. The disparity is equivalent to forcibly elevating a newly entering Dominion-level powerhouse to the level of a Chaos Venerable. The insurmountable gap between the Taiji universe nurtured by his true body over many years and the internal universe formed by a single primordial spirit was simply erased this easily? With the Taiyin universe having improved like this, If the Taiji universe of my true body similarly devours the source of fierce sun, the subsequent enhancement, Lin Yuan's heartbeat quickened. In terms of stability, the Taiji universe far exceeds the original Taiyin universe. If the Taiyin universe can devour and fuse with the source of fierce sun, so can the Taiji universe. No rush to try within the Taiji universe of my true body. Lin Yuan's thoughts gathered, unusually calm, intending to further experiment with the Taiyang Divine Spirit's Taiyang universe. Through the fusion and devouring of the Taiyin universe, Lin Yuan was fully aware that failures would occur, potentially causing the universe to collapse. Compared to the collapse of the internal universes of the two great universes, the collapse of the Taiji universe of his true body would be a much greater cost for Lin Yuan. Without confidence, Lin Yuan would not attempt it within the Taiji universe of his true body. Buzz. The next moment, the Taiyang Divine Spirit appeared. Lin Yuan's consciousness directly descended into the Taiyang universe. Compared to the cold and icy Taiyin universe, the Taiyang universe presented a completely opposite scene, filled entirely with the power of the sun. The fusion and devouring of the source of fierce sun by the Taiyin universe were due to the opposing attributes of the two, but the Taiyang universe? Lin Yuan pondered for a while and immediately began to condense the source of fierce sun within the Taiyang universe. Light and heat. The endless light and heat. As the Taiyang universe continually fused and devoured the source of fierce sun, Lin Yuan keenly felt the changes in the Taiyang universe. The Taiji path that Lin Yuan walked was more perfect than the singular extreme path of Taiyin and Taiyang, but this did not mean the latter was weak. On the contrary, a singular extreme path also could reach unimaginable heights. For instance, the ancestor of Fierce Sun's path of Fierce Sun directly stepped into the 13th realm. Other great lords and heavenly venerables evolved their paths of strength from the chaos similarly. Thousands of avenues, different paths lead to the same destination, with no pure strength or weakness. Rustling sounds. Taiyang and Fierce Sun intertwined and collided, giving rise to even hotter power. After more than a dozen attempts, Lin Yuan's Taiyang Divine Spirit shattered more than 10 times, but finally managed to completely fuse and devour the source of Fierce Sunday, now the Taiyang universe? Lin Yuan steadied his mind. Even though he was prepared at this moment, he felt the Taiyang universe was not at all inferior to the might of the true form's Taiji universe. Fusion of Taiyin and Taiyang. Lin Yuan's mind stirred slightly, and the Taiyin primordial spirit began to fuse with the Taiyang divine spirit. Taiji is formed by the fusion of yin and yang. Naturally, it can differentiate into yin and yang. The fusion of Taiyin primordial spirit and Taiyang divine spirit would form the Taiji primordial spirit. Compared to singular primordial spirits, the Taiji primordial spirit is stronger, not just due to singular Taiyang and Taiyin reasons, but because the fusion of the two primordial spirits also merges their powers, hence the final strength is naturally greater. Rumbling sounds. During the fusion of Taiyin primordial spirit and Taiyang divine spirit, the universes within naturally began to merge. Lin Yuan watched with a solemn expression, knowing that if the fusion failed, the loss would be two primordial spirits. Time passed. Under Lin Yuan's gaze, the Taiji primordial spirit quickly took shape. But a vague sense of pressure emerged. The newly formed Taiji primordial spirit surprisingly exerted some pressure on Lin Yuan. Taiji universe. Without hesitation, Lin Yuan's consciousness descended into the Taiji universe within the Taiji primordial spirit. The universe within the true form is also a Taiji universe, but it is much stronger than the Taiji universe within the Taiji primordial spirit, given all the depth there. Phew! Gazing upon the unprecedented Taiji universe, Lin Yuan couldn't help but take a deep breath. After the fusion of Taiyin primordial spirit and Taiyang divine spirit, the Taiji universe formed was nearly 900 billion light-years in diameter. In addition, the invisible pressure was pervasive throughout the universe, with a central fierce sun illuminating everything. Lin Yuan stared at that fierce sun, as if faintly gazing at the eternal fierce sun in the origin world. Of course, It was only slightly similar, as the actual potency of the fierce sun within the Taiji universe was far inferior to that eternal fierce Sunday, this Taiji universe. Lin Yuan felt the Taiji universe piece by piece is much stronger than the Taiji universe of the true form. As for exactly how much stronger, Lin Yuan couldn't determine, without a specific point of reference, couldn't exactly let the two Taiji universes clash, could he? Deep within the true form's universe. Beside the jade gourd, the red-clothed girl lazily crossed her legs. The master must be disappointed, only a 10-centimeter mark was left on the eternal metal. The red-clothed girl could detect Lin Yuan's slight disappointment at that time. I need to find time to reassure the master. Its eternal metal, leaving a 10-centimeter mark, is already quite impressive. The red-clothed girl thought to herself. Just then, Lin Yuan appeared beside her. Master! The red-clothed girl immediately jumped up. Where is that eternal metal? Lin Yuan asked with a smile, looking at the red-clothed girl. Eternal metal? The red-clothed girl was slightly puzzled. What does the master want to do with eternal metal? I plan to attempt it again, Lin Yuan said. With those words, the red-clothed girl blinked. Attempt it again? Does the master feel he didn't exert his full strength before? Master, you are already very impressive, being able to leave a 10-centimeter mark on the eternal metal. The red-clothed girl couldn't help but speak. The advancement of the universe within isn't an overnight task. The red-clothed girl hadn't even felt how long Lin Yuan continued to cultivate the infinite void, second level. At this time, trying the eternal metal again doesn't have much meaning, perhaps just leaving another 10-centimeter mark? If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 11:15, I'll give it a try. Lin Yuan continued to speak. The enhancement of the internal universe within the Taiji primordial spirit was so significant that even he couldn't quite grasp it. Anyway, it definitely surpassed the internal universe of his true body. Lin Yuan wanted to know what level the internal universe of the current Taiji primordial spirit was at, and to find an opponent for comparison. Given the strength of Lin Yuan's Taiji primordial spirit's internal universe, an ordinary chaos venerable probably wouldn't withstand even a moment. Since the master wants to try again, then let's try again. The red-clothed girl did not stop him. In the strictest sense, Lin Yuan was her master, and she had to comply with any decision he made. Master, please take a look. The red-clothed girl turned her hand, and that massive piece of eternal fine gold appeared once more. Master, please start. The red-clothed girl looked at Lin Yuan. Not trying it here in this internal universe. Lin Yuan said, let's try it in the internal universe of my primordial spirit. Huh. The red-clothed girl was a bit stunned. As the spirit of jade gourd created by a 13th order life form, the red-clothed girl also knew that Lin Yuan had cultivated two major primordial spirits. However, the two major primordial spirits were far weaker than Lin Yuan's true body, and their internal universes were the same. If Lin Yuan wanted to try the eternal fine gold with the internal universe of the primordial spirit, he probably wouldn't even leave a 10-centimeter mark. All right. Although puzzled, the red-clothed girl did not question him, only silently thinking to herself, could the master be testing how weak the internal universe of the primordial spirit is? Swoosh. The next moment, Lin Yuan brought the red-clothed girl and that piece of eternal fine gold into the internal universe of the Taiji primordial spirit. Where is this? The red-clothed girl was initially unconcerned, but soon realized something was amiss. Why was the internal universe of the master's primordial spirit so stable, giving the red-clothed girl a sense of oppression far surpassing that of the true Buddhist internal universe? I haven't cultivated the second layer of infinite void, the red-clothed girl immediately observed closely. If the internal universe had cultivated the second layer of infinite void, she could tell from the basic structural differences of the internal universe. Starting. Lin Yuan looked at the floating eternal fine gold in the distance and began to mobilize the origin power of the universe to suppress it. Rumble. Endless origin power gathered, And in the center of the universe, the constantly burning fierce sun also began to heat up, with the terrifying aura starting to spread. After merging and devouring the origin of fierce sun, the Taiji universe, with the origin of fierce sun as the core, still fundamentally based on Taiyin Taiyang Taiji. At this moment, with the Taiji universe running at full power, it was basically equivalent to the divine skill, fierce sun opening the sky without a burden, and in terms of power, it exceeded it by far, like a combination of the Taiji universe and fierce sun opening the sky. Buzz buzz buzz. Every ounce of power from the Taiji universe fully suppressed the piece of eternal fine gold. In an instant, the eternal fine gold began to deform and twist visibly, with terrifying marks appearing on its surface, spreading deep and forming pits. Each pit exceeded 1 meter, with the deepest approaching 2 meters. The entire piece of eternal fine gold became uneven, looking somewhat miserable. So hard. Seeing this, Lin Yuan couldn't help but marvel. Although he wasn't sure how strong the internal universe of the Taiji primordial spirit was. But under the full operation and suppression just now, dozens or hundreds of Chaos Realm Peak Venerables would be annihilated without a doubt. But this piece of eternal fine gold? It only became slightly uneven? The deepest mark exceeds 1 meter, approaching 2 meters. Lin Yuan glanced at the eternal fine gold and then looked at the red-clothed girl. So, what level is this universe equivalent to? The red-clothed girl fell silent. As soon as she entered this universe, she noticed something was off, then she felt the terrifying power that erupted when Lin Yuan operated the internal universe at full force. Finally, that piece of eternal fine gold rapidly deformed and twisted. Master, why is the internal universe of your primordial spirit so powerful? The red-clothed girl took a deep breath, then looked at Lin Yuan with incredulity. If not for the certainty that this universe originated from Lin Yuan, with their auras imprinted together, the red-clothed girl might have suspected it wasn't the internal universe of another powerful figure. Too outrageous. Too extreme. How is this possible? This universe hasn't cultivated the second layer of infinite void, still remaining at the first layer. Why is it so strong? The red-clothed girl was full of confusion. The scene before her was simply unbelievable. I've made some improvements to the internal universe. Lin Yuan thought for a moment, not mentioning the fierce sun opening the sky to the red-clothed girl. After all, it involved another dimensional space. Actually, Lin Yuan had hidden the existence of the fierce sun at the center of the universe when he brought the red-clothed girl over, and not only that, he deliberately suppressed the power of fierce sun when operating the internal universe at full force. The internal universe was Lin Yuan's domain. As long as Lin Yuan didn't want to, even the red-clothed girl couldn't see through much. Earlier, the red-clothed girl could detect whether Lin Yuan was cultivating the second layer of infinite void because Lin Yuan actively showed it to her. Improvements? The red-clothed girl was shocked. The internal universe cultivated through infinite void had already reached perfection at the microscopic level. Could it be improved further? If it weren't for the terrifying enhancement of this inner universe, the red-clothed girl wouldn't have believed it at all. Right. Lin Yuan nodded. Now, to what level has my inner universe reached? Lin Yuan looked expectantly at the red-clothed girl. Earlier, the red-clothed girl mentioned that leaving a half-meter mark on the eternal fine gold meant that the inner universe was nearing completion of the second layer of infinite void. By then, Lin Yuan's inner universe would be the strongest just below the perfect chaos realm. But now, Lin Yuan not only left a half-meter mark. The deepest mark was almost 2 meters. Master, this inner universe should be able to rival the perfect chaos realm. The red-clothed girl said, perfect chaos realm, which is the chaos great saint. In other words, Lin Yuan's Taiji primordial spirit's inner universe can now be compared to the chaos great saint's inner universe. Sia the Nefire. At website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. My primordial spirit's inner universe is inherently weaker than the true Bodhi's inner universe. If the improvement method is applied to the true Bodhi's inner universe, wouldn't it be stronger than an average chaos great saint in terms of inner universe? Lin Yuan thought to himself. Of course, being stronger in the inner universe does not mean having stronger combat power than a Chaos Great Saint. A Chaos Great Saint's strength and power depend on multiple aspects. The inner universe is just one of them. But anyway, Lin Yuan can now challenge a Chaos Great Saint to some extent. Challenging doesn't mean comparing or equaling but being able to exchange a few moves. You must know the gap between a Chaos Great Saint and a Chaos Venerable is immense. The aftermath of a casual strike from a Chaos Great Saint could severely injure a Chaos Venerable. That Lin Yuan can challenge and exchange a few moves with a Chaos Great Saint almost makes him invincible among Chaos Venerables. Even this is just the beginning. Lin Yuan has many techniques yet to be cultivated to the extreme. For instance, he hasn't mastered the second layer of Infinite Void. If Lin Yuan reaches the peak in all aspects, he could fully stand against a Great Saint. To face a Chaos Great Saint with the body of an epic dominator. Note that even in the source world, the core royal family with extremely rich ancestor of fierce sun bloodline can at most challenge a heavenly venerate at the Great Lord level. That is already the limit, the strongest Great Lord created by the synergy of the 13th tier bloodline and 13th tier legacy. As for a dominator facing a heavenly venerate, unless the 13th tier possesses the body, or other external forces assist, it's just a delusion. This is true for the source world and also for this chaos void. Under normal circumstances, even with the infinite void, 13th tier legacy, at most, one can challenge a venerate at the dominator level. Even if one not only obtains the infinite void, but also accumulates several other legacies representing body, soul, etc., all at the 13th tier. At best, one could barely challenge a peak chaos realm venerate as a dominator. As for a great saint, at least stepping into the chaos realm is necessary. No essential difference from the core royal family of the source world. But Lin Yuan? The accumulation and foundation in all aspects have created such a monstrous genius. Master, your future might reach the heights of the former master. The red-clothed girl looked at Lin Yuan with a slightly complex tone. Actually, the creator of Infinite Void left behind the 13th tier legacies representing foundation, base, physical body, and so on, just casually. There was no intention to cultivate a 13th tier. Life at the 13th tier isn't something that can be cultivated. To be precise, life at the 13th tier can't be cultivated. However, at this moment, Lin Yuan gives the red-clothed girl an illusion that there is truly hope to break into the 13th tier in the future. Too far away. Lin Yuan shook his head. The more he cultivates, the more he feels the difficulty of stepping into the 13th tier. Even if everything goes smoothly and he cultivates to perfection in the chaos realm, how would he face the cycle of time? Determining the level of the Taiji primordial spirit's inner universe. Lin Yuan then began to continue trying with the two major primordial spirits again. As for the true body, there's no rush for now. He'll consider the true body after the inner universes of the two major primordial spirits successfully gather the origin source of Fierce Sunday, source world. The war between the Qingfen domain and the Purple Dream domain continues. The Yishisan defensive line battlefield. After a routine clash with Great Venerate Changfeng, Lin Yuan retreated. Lin Yuan looked up toward the core defensive line battlefield, seeing more than 10 peak Great Lords in a chaotic melee, their forces colliding and distorting space and time. These peak Great Lords are really giving it their all. Lin Yuan thought to himself. In a war involving dozens of major domains, if ordinary Great Lords and seasoned veteran Great Lords might still have the possibility of slacking off. But peak Great Lords? Peak Great Lords can completely refuse to participate if unwilling. Since they're here, they must have been given irresistible promises by the royal families who have crowned kings. So there's a real possibility of true passion igniting between peak Great Lords, as every peak Great Lord desires to win the war. Only in this way can the royal family fulfill their promise. If they fail, even if there's a minimum reward guarantee, it's certainly far less than winning the war. Time passes slowly. 500 years pass in the blink of an eye. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., Please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1116. The Great Lord is invincible. Seeking subscription, the world is vast and boundless. Behind the battlefield of the Purple Dream domain, two figures stand in the void, overlooking the distant battlefield. The one standing slightly behind is Spirit Might King, who as a king conferred by the royal family of the Daling ancient country, has strategically initiated this war affecting several dozen surrounding domains. Since the war started, on the main battlefields of the two domains, it's been the Purple Dream domain holding the advantage, while the Qingfen domain primarily focuses on defense. I've almost figured out that Red Pine King's tactics. This war still needs you, brother, to take action and decide the outcome. Spirit Might King looked at the figure to his front left. It was his brother, King Lingshan of the core royal bloodline of the Daling ancient country. In the source world, among many ancient countries, it is extremely rare for the ancestral bloodline concentration to reach the level of the core royal bloodline, even rarer than the numbers of heavenly venerates. A member of the core royal bloodline, once stepping into the realm of Great Lord, can easily sweep through opponents of the same rank after a brief period of adaptation. The powerful bloodline power of the ancestor grants every member of the core royal bloodline an overwhelming battle prowess. If bloodline power can be unleashed to its maximum potential, the core royal bloodline at the realm of Great Lord can challenge the heavenly venerates. Of course, even for the core royal bloodline, achieving the maximum unleashing of bloodline power is not an easy task. But it is still far simpler than a Great Lord breaking through to become a heavenly venerate. Cultivation is the foundation of all things in this world. King Lingshan glanced at Spirit Might King. Is the throne that important to you, brother? Very important. Spirit Might King admitted. Becoming an emperor of an ancient country offers many benefits, including purifying the royal bloodline within. For members of the core royal bloodline, their bloodline concentration is nearly overflowing and cannot be enhanced further, but for the ordinary royal bloodline, the allure of purifying the bloodline concentration is substantial. Search * the Navire. Net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. However, for Spirit Might King, purifying his bloodline concentration is not his sole reason for aiming to become an emperor. What he values more is wielding imperial power. I don't have your talent, little brother. Becoming emperor is my only hope. Spirit Might King sighed. He also felt somewhat helpless. Although he and King Lingshan were brothers, they were not particularly close. For this occasion, Spirit Might King paid a significant effort to invite King Lingshan to intervene. Understood. After a moment of silence, King Lingshan spoke. This time, I will help you completely eliminate all obstacles in this war, brother. Little brother, that King Qijue is not easy to deal with. Spirit Might King was shocked and quickly reminded. King Qijue was the third brother of Red Pine King and also a member of the core royal bloodline. When it comes to cultivation years, King Qijue far surpasses King Lingshan. Spirit Might King's expectation was simply for King Lingshan to hold King Qijue at bay. King Qijue? King Lingshan's tone was calm. A core royal bloodline member who hasn't grown to the limit is not my match. Core royal bloodline members can challenge heavenly venerates as great lords, but not without conditions. Their bloodline must be pushed to the limit. The threshold between a great lord and a heavenly venerate is not easily crossed, even with the rich enhancement of a 13th tier life bloodline. Your bloodline, little brother? Spirit Might King's pupils contracted, looking at his brother incredulously. Yes. King Lingshan nodded. Good, good, good. Spirit Might King felt an overwhelming joy. A core royal bloodline member whose bloodline has been fully exploited is considered the strongest force beneath the heavenly venerates. That King Qijue hasn't had any news of reaching his full potential over the years. It means that once King Lingshan and King Qijue engage in combat, the ultimate victor will surely be King Lingshan. Perhaps little brother is right. Cultivation is indeed the foundation? In the midst of joy, Spirit Might King's mind suddenly floated this thought, but it was quickly replaced by joy. Whatever, let's eradicate Qingfen domain first. Qingfen domain. Red Pine King and King Qijue were similarly standing at the front of the battlefield. The decisive battle should begin. Red Pine King gazed distantly at the battlefield. The war had already lasted 500 years, with both sides having clashed multiple times. Intense battles between peak great lords frequently appeared. Red Pine King had a premonition that Spirit Might King was growing restless over there. Third brother, you'll need your help next. Red Pine King spoke. No problem. King Qijue smiled at Red Pine King. Leave King Lingshan to me. I've long heard of his astounding ancestral bloodline from the Daling ancient country, and today I can finally witness it. King Lingshan, his reputation is indeed great. Red Pine King nodded. King Lingshan is the youngest core royal bloodline member of the Daling ancient country. It is said that when his bloodline concentration was tested, it directly triggered an ancestral phenomenon. Third brother, should I continue to ask a few more royal kings to come? Red Pine King considered and then asked. Can you summon them? King Qijue glanced at Red Pine King and laughed. Furthermore, if you continue to ask for royal kings, then Spirit Might King will ask for more as well, escalating the intensity of the war. Wars between ancient countries often occur, but they tacitly keep the intensity restrained. Normally, in regional wars involving dozens of domains, having a royal king stationed as the peak is sufficient. Inviting more royal kings? Besides the exponentially increased costs, the war intensity will rise. Once the eyes are blood red, affected domains grow in number, triggering comprehensive war between ancient countries, involving numerous powerful heavenly venerates. That scene is what can be truly deemed out of control. Even the ambitious Spirit Might King does not wish to face such a situation. If the war intensity exceeds his control, even if he wins the war, the achieved merit might not outweigh what he has now. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 11:17. The Great Lord is Invincible. Seeking subscription. _2 Winning won't vastly enhance one's prestige and reputation, but if lost, the Spirit Might King will be branded a sinner of the ancient kingdom, and the punishment will be severe. Being imprisoned for 1 billion years would be considered lenient. Indeed. The Red Pine King nodded. The cost of escalating the war's intensity far exceeds that of losing a normal war. How is the current situation? King Qijue casually asked. It's acceptable. In the slaughter between the great lords, the Spirit Might King has a slight advantage, but not by much. As long as you, third brother, can hold off the King Lingshan, the Spirit Might King won't be able to do anything to me. The Red Pine King was very confident. In terms of battlefield strategy, he believed he had reached perfection. Unless the opponent's power was overwhelming, they could not penetrate his defense. I heard you tacitly allowed a great lord to comprehend the war machine? King Qijue looked down on the battlefield and asked. Yes, it's the Galaxy Great Lord, a newly promoted Great Lord, a disciple of Qingfen, with considerable potential. The Red Pine King nodded. Privately allowing an outsider to comprehend the war machine clearly violated the regulations of the ancient kingdom. If anyone else asked, the Red Pine King would surely deny it, feigning ignorance, but King Qijue? His third brother, the Red Pine King naturally told the truth. You think highly of him? King Qijue smiled, not overly concerned. For him, even a newly promoted Great Lord, or even a peak Great Lord, was unworthy of his attention. A core figure of the royal family, even without reaching the ultimate level, could easily sweep across the same rank. Zone E Shirshan Defense Area. Lin Yuan sat cross-legged, his aura deep and restrained. After 500 years, Lin Yuan had completely integrated the fierce sun source into his internal universe, the true body of the chaos void primordial spirit, the true body and primordial spirit of this source world, all of which had merged and devoured the fierce sun source. How miraculous! Lin Yuan gazed down at his internal universe, where a blazing sun sat at the center, its radiance illuminating the 8-direction universe. My current strength should surpass the peak Great Lords. Lin Yuan thought to himself, At this moment, his internal universe had integrated and devoured the fierce sun source, equivalent to continuously maintaining the fierce sun opening the sky divine skill, with such profound foundations that even without utilizing any rule methods, he could suppress peak great lords with sheer fundamental strength. As for the heavenly venerate, Lin Yuan pondered in his heart. The heavenly venerate of this source world was equivalent to the great saints of the chaos void. Having never truly fought them, Lin Yuan was unsure who was stronger. Now, in this Fang Yuan world, I finally have the power to protect myself. A smile appeared on Lin Yuan's face. Although he did not know if he could rival a heavenly venerate, it was clear that a heavenly venerate would find it very difficult to deal with him. Even if he couldn't win, self-preservation was achievable. Heavenly venerate was already considered a top-tier combat force. Above them were the emperors of various ancient kingdoms and the forefathers. The emperors of the ancient kingdoms had combat power that surpassed the heavenly venerates because they wielded weapons bestowed by the forefathers. Yet, these weapons were not easily deployed, and there were many limiting conditions. Therefore, as long as Lin Yuan was careful, the threat from the emperors of ancient kingdoms could likewise be ignored. Only the last grade A war machine has yet to be fully comprehended. Lin Yuan thought to himself. Over the past 500 years, nearly all the war machines on the battlefield had been comprehended by him. Only the last grade A war machine remained, and it was nearly fully comprehended. At Lin Yuan's rate of comprehension, it could be the next moment or a few months away. Chaos rule. Lin Yuan's expression turned contemplative. He had comprehended nearly all the chaos secret patterns within the war machines, and now his understanding of the chaos rule was only a tiny bit away from reaching the second realm peak. It's just the final seed of the fierce sun. Lin Yuan's brow slightly furrowed. Over the past 500 years, his cultivation in all aspects had leapt forward, but the seed of the fierce sun remained stuck. The 33,333rd seed of the fierce sun was extremely close to being fully condensed, yet that final step hadn't been taken. Is there a limitation or shackle that I'm unaware of? Lin Yuan pondered secretly, planning to investigate once he had fully comprehended the last war machine. At this moment, Lin Yuan's expression slightly changed as he looked towards the battlefield. Great Venerate Changfeng, leading numerous war machines, launched a large-scale attack here. Attacking again? Lin Yuan raised an eyebrow. It had been less than half a year since the last attack. Typically, the interval between attacks was at least in the tens of years. After all, war machines needed repairs, and great lords required rest. Above the Yi-Shan defense line battlefield, Lin Yuan and Great Venerate Changfeng faced each other from a distance. Galaxy, be cautious in the next phase. Great Venerate Changfeng secretly transmitted a message, reminding him. In the 500 years of battle, Lin Yuan and Great Venerate Changfeng had established a tacit understanding, never fighting to the death. The two had developed a deep bond. In fact, for the Great Venerates, friendships were not bound by ancient country restrictions. The Great Venerates of Fierce Sun Ancient Country and Aling Ancient Country also maintained very good relations. Many Great Venerates would even travel through various ancient countries, serving different ancient countries every few years. Be cautious. Lin Yuan's expression subtly changed. Great Venerate Changfeng's reminder was certainly not aimed at cautioning Lin Yuan about him. Throughout 500 years, despite Lin Yuan concealing his strength, solely the techniques he displayed were challenging enough for Great Venerate Changfeng to handle. Is Spirit Might King preparing to initiate the final battle? Lin Yuan also transmitted a message inquiring. Yes. Great Venerate Changfeng hesitated for a moment, then nodded. The matter was no secret. Even if he didn't reveal it, Lin Yuan would soon find out, as all of the Great Venerates on Spirit Might King's side had already gathered at the core frontline battlefield. Final battle? Lin Yuan looked towards the core frontline battlefield. Core frontline battlefield. Time and space were heavy, the aura of the peak Great Venerates pervading, as mighty war machines faced off against each other. Lord Qingfen, Great Venerate Hongye, and other peak Great Venerates wore solemn expressions. The battle between the two domains had been long prepared for, and after 500 years of clash, both sides had thoroughly probed each other. Now comes the final battle phase. The duration of the final battle phase will not be short, but both sides will undoubtedly fight with all their might, utilizing hidden trump cards previously kept in reserve. The final battle, the most brutal battlefield, will certainly be the core frontline battlefield. The galaxy side should not be affected yet. Lord Kingfen's thoughts drifted as he glanced at the distant Shan frontline battlefield. Rumble. The next moment, both sides' peak great venerates engaged in full combat. Unlike in the past when only a few peak great venerates fought fiercely, this time all peak great venerates struck with full strength, holding back nothing. Around Lord Qingfen, time and space began to burn with blue flames, the intangible fire spreading to cover all directions. Other peak great venerates also unleashed various techniques in succession, causing large areas of time and space in this battlefield region to collapse, even affecting the clashes between the mighty war machines below. Return of 10,000 Ways. In the direction of the Purple Dream domain, a burly peak great venerate stepped forward, causing the surrounding world to crumble, influencing all peak great venerates including Lord Qingfen. Such a technique? Lord Kingfen's expression subtly changed. Other great venerates felt similarly, vaguely sensing that the chaotic evolving powers they mastered began to be suppressed and weakened. At the rear of the battlefield, Red Pine King and King Qijue wore solemn expressions. "I must intervene." King Qijue spoke, as the burly peak great venerate from the Purple Dream domain was evidently Spirit Might King's hidden trump card. His strength could affect the battle situation among more than a dozen peak great venerates. If King Qijue did not intervene to stop it, the peak great venerates on the Qingfen domain side would likely fall into a disadvantageous position. Yes. Red Pine King nodded, seeing that the battlefield situation was indeed unfavorable to his side. Buzz buzz buzz. On the battlefield, the sky seemed forcibly torn open, a substantial amount of crimson flames converging as the burly peak great venerate rapidly retreated several steps. King Qijue. The expression of the burly peak great venerate became serious. A silhouette appeared unknown when above all the peak great venerates, eyes burning like a fierce sun. However, before many peak great venerates could react. So the novel, If Ire. NT website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Qijue. A mysterious divine aura permeated, a figure appearing opposite King Qijue with a smile on his face. Let me see the techniques of the fierce Sun ancient country's royal family. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1118 King Lingshan. The youngest core royal family of the Great Deling ancient country? Many great lords, including Marquis Purple Dream, showed slight excitement. Apart from a heavenly venerate, no one underestimates a core royal family at the realm of great lords. On the vast majority of local battlefields, a core royal family at the Great Lord realm represents supreme combat power. Lingshan. King Qijue quietly gazed at King Lingshan. "You are younger, I will let you take the first strike. If that's the case, then I shall make my move." King Lingshan was not modest, raised his right hand, and punched forward. This punch was completely contained, yet as it advanced, time and space retreated, exuding a deathly aura. King Qijue's expression slightly changed. When he said to let King Lingshan strike first, it was not carelessness. Rather, it was because he was adept at defensive techniques. Allowing the opponent to strike first does not put him at much disadvantage. Instead, it could test the opponent's true capabilities. But King Lingshan's punch made King Qijue feel pressure. With merely the first strike, not even at full force, it had such might? King Qijue sensed something amiss in his heart. Whoosh! Around King Qijue, flame lotuses bloomed one after another. King Lingshan's punch shattered more than 90,000 flame lotuses, and finally the might slowly dissipated. Haha, exhilarating. King Lingshan laughed heartily. "Qijue, Let's fight up there, too many restraints here. The battle between two core royal families covers too wide an area and would affect the clashes between the pinnacle great lords below. Such an impact is indiscriminate. Fighting here, the two core royal families would be constrained. Okay. King Qijue nodded. King Qijue and King Lingxian disappeared from where they stood. Immediately, two terrifying waves clashed fiercely at a higher level of time and space. Below, the pinnacle great lords also allocated part of their focus to observe. The collision between two core royal families was far more intense than that of the dozen or so pinnacle great lords. No need to focus on Prince Redpine anymore. Lord Qingfen immediately transmitted his thoughts to other pinnacle great lords. Barring accidents, it's unlikely the battle between King Qijue and King Lingxian will have a quick outcome. Most likely, they will keep each other occupied. Thus, the outcome of this war primarily depends on the outcome among the pinnacle great lords. Brother Hongye, can you hold off that one? Lord Qingfen looked at the towering pinnacle great lord. It was precisely this pinnacle great lord's intervention that nearly completely suppressed the pinnacle great lords from their side. If not for King Qijue's timely support, the situation would have turned dire. Leave it to me. Great Venerate Hongye nodded. The towering great lord was successful because they were unguarded. If Great Venerate Hongye specifically focused on the opponent, it would not be easy for the towering great lord to execute that deadly move again. Third brother. On the battlefield's rear, Prince Redpine was also paying attention. As the commander of this war, Prince Redpine was keenly aware of the battlefield situation, knowing that as long as King Lingxian couldn't break free, they would most likely hold the line. Lingwei, if the war enters a stalemate, let's see how long you can last. Prince Redpine pondered. The war initiated by King Lingwei, affecting dozens of domains, also bore a significant cost, and without significant results, the war surely couldn't last long. The candidates for the throne over at the Great Deling ancient country surely wouldn't want an extra competitor. If King Lingwei becomes stagnant in the frontline war, it equals giving those candidates a chance. Defense line battlefield no. Shirsan. Lin Yuan was also focused on the core battlefield, especially after King Lingxian and King Qijue appeared. Their clashes produced terrifying waves, bringing considerable insights to Lin Yuan. Truly powerful, surpassing the pinnacle great lords. Lin Yuan observed carefully. The fighting style of this world's strong beings differs greatly from those in the Chaos Void. Especially between core royal families, the main clashes are between bloodline talents, tapping into the deeply entrenched bloodline strength, leading to an explosion of power rivaling or even surpassing the forces that evolve from chaos. No wonder it's said that core royal families are almost impossible to break into the heavenly venerable realm. Lin Yuan mused, as he now realized that neither King Lingxian nor King Qijue were walking the path of chaos evolution. Their abilities relied entirely on their own bloodline power. However, bloodline power has its limits. Without comprehending chaos rule, without understanding the path of chaos evolution, one can never enter the heavenly venerable realm. To be precise, even core royal families are not true great lords. The so-called core royal families at the Great Lord realm merely dig into their bloodline power to a certain extent. So that's why the heavenly venerates disregard the royal families? Lin Yuan thought internally, for the heavenly venerates who delve deeply into the path of chaos evolution, each core royal family is a brute, with shallow rule mystique, relying entirely on bloodline talent for such formidable combat strength. Actually, core royal families can also comprehend rules, explore the path of chaos evolution, but compared to the excavation of their own bloodline power, it is simply too slow. Lin Yuan looked towards the battlefield from afar. Ordinary royals even would comprehend rules, because their bloodline power cannot support rapid progress past the Great Lord. But the core royal families. Given that time, extracting more bloodline power yields greater improvement. Despite the numerous blessings from seeds of the fierce sun, compared to bloodline power, it is still too slow. Sarch * the Nefire. Et website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. The way King Lingxian utilizes his bloodline seems somewhat superior to King Qijue. Although Lin Yuan was watching the core royal family's battle for the first time, he quickly detected something. Higher time and space battlefield. King Chiju's expression was solemn as he stood atop a massive flame lotus with screens of lotus barriers floating around him. While King Lingxian, akin to a giant hammer, continued to pound towards King Chijue, the entire gigantic flame lotus trembled slightly with each blow, showing signs of nearly reaching its limit. Lingxian, have you already grown to your limit? King Chiju's expression faintly revealed disbelief. The relative strength among core royal families is measured by the degree of bloodline power excavation. The higher the excavation of bloodline power, the stronger the combat strength. Fully digging out one's ancestors' bloodline signifies growing to the fullest. This stage of core royal families can reach their peak and challenge a heavenly venerate. Of course, challenging a heavenly venerate isn't equating or matching a heavenly venerate, but it's indeed unprecedentedly powerful. Next, if the core royalty wishes to advance further, they must honestly comprehend the rules and cross into the Great Lord or even heavenly venerate from the level of rules. Is reaching the ultimate growth really that difficult? King Lingxian showed no intention of holding back and continued to bombard King Chiju's protective flames shaped like a lotus. For King Lingxian at this moment, King Chijue posed no threat. It was only a matter of time to tear apart the other's shell. This is troublesome. King Chiju's expression was grave. With King Lingxian's current strength, there was no way to stall him. Under such circumstances, it would have a revolutionary impact on the situation among the peak Great Lords below. Once I fail to stall King Lingxian, his attacks on those peak Great Lords would be inevitable. At the rear of the battlefield, Prince Red Pine suddenly heard King Chiju's urgent voice. Red Pine, King Lingxian has reached his ultimate growth. I am not his match. Now try to stall him as much as possible. Quickly arrange for all Great Lords to retreat. Upon hearing this, Prince Red Pine's expression changed drastically. King Lingxian has reached the ultimate growth? Prince Red Pine immediately reacted. He understood King Chiju's intention at the same time. Let all Great Lords retreat into Qingfen City, then rely on the defense matrix of Qingfen City to hold out until the fierce Sun ancient country sends in their core royalty of the same level for support. Facing a core royalty at their ultimate growth in battle, there was no chance on Prince Red Pine's side of stopping them. Only by leveraging the full defense of Qingfen City could they hold out a while longer until the ancient country's support arrived. Retreat. All Great Lords immediately retreat. Prince Red Pine simultaneously transmitted commands to all Great Lords. As the battlefield commander, Prince Red Pine had the means to instantly contact all Great Lords. Retreat. Immediate retreat? Prince Red Pine wants us to retreat immediately? Lord Qingfen and other peak Great Lords received the message and were a bit bewildered. However, no one dared to defy Prince Red Pine's intention, and all Great Lord-level powerhouses began to retreat into the battlefield matrix. These battlefield matrices, although arranged temporarily, could still hold off a few breaths, even against peak Great Lords. Very soon, all peak Great Lords and numerous other Great Lords arrived in front of the space-time passage at the rear of the battlefield. The space-time passage began to operate instantly. During the brief wait, all Great Lords were in uproar. Why does Prince Red Pine want us to retreat? It doesn't make sense. We're not at a disadvantage? Even if we're at a disadvantage, there's no need to retreat completely? The various Great Lords didn't quite understand. Lin Yuan, amidst the crowd, grasped the reason for Prince Red Pine's command. In his view, in the higher space-time, King Chijue was already teetering under King Lingxian's assault. In higher space-time, Chijue, you've fallen for it. King Lingxian gazed down at the battlefield below, observing all Great Lords in Qingfen domain gathering before the space-time passage. A smile surfaced on his face. Fallen for it? King Chiju's expression changed slightly. Do you think you can stall me? King Lingxian mocked and then swiftly pressed his right hand down, thoroughly suppressing King Chijue. Then King Lingxian extended his right hand towards the battlefield's space-time passage, reaching out to grab dozens of Great Lord-level powerhouses. Not good. King Chiju's expression changed drastically. Given the battlefield situation, even if King Lingxian is a core royalty reaching the ultimate growth, it doesn't necessarily mean Prince Red Pine's side will lose. As long as all the great lords safely retreat to Qingfen City, relying on the defense matrix, they could still hold out for some time. Besides the defense matrix, Qingfen City also had a teleportation matrix connected to the national capital's teleportation matrix. If given time for the fierce Sun ancient country to react, they could definitely deploy another core royalty who had also achieved the ultimate growth. But that premise is for all great lords to retreat entirely and safely to Qingfen City. Only with dozens of great lords jointly managing Qingfen City's defense matrix could they barely hold off King Lingxian's attack for a short period. If there weren't dozens of great lords stationed in Qingfen City, even with the city's strong defense matrix, it would be like water without a source, completely unable to withstand King Lingxian. If Qingfen City falls, the Qingfen domain would roughly fall too, affecting neighboring dozens of domains, increasing their danger. Rumble. In front of the space-time passage. Originally planning to go through the space-time passage to return to Qingfen City, dozens of great lords suddenly felt the world change, surrounded by dimness, with 5 gigantic pillars towering. In higher space-time, King Lingxian looked at his right hand, which he had withdrawn, with dozens of great lords now trapped within his palm, akin to ants. Qijue, you lost this war. King Lingxian laughed wantonly, then gently squeezed his right hand amidst King Chiju's despairing gaze. In an instant, in the palm, dozens of great lords only felt those 5 massive pillars collapse, space-time paths all crumbling. However, halfway through his grip, King Lingxian's smile froze, filled with shock and uncertainty, as he gazed at his half-clenched right hand. Why is it so hard? If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1119, Lin Yuan and King Lingxian, subscription requested. It's over. King Qijue was subdued, and similarly witnessed King Lingxian with a mere gesture confine all great venerables of the Purple Dream domain within his palm. Then slowly clenched his hand slightly. King Lingxian, an evolved core royal to the extreme, could square off for a few moves against a true heavenly venerate, his strength far surpassing peak great venerables. The 5 or 6 peak great venerables from the Purple Dream domain, along with over 20 veteran great venerables, and several new great venerables, were utterly incapable of withstanding the grip of King Lingxian. This is the terror of the core royals of the ancient countries. Once their growth reaches the extreme, they practically carve out a new realm between great venerables and heavenly venerates. Typically, in local wars between ancient countries, core royals who have grown to the extreme rarely appear. These powerhouses, being nearly at the same tier as heavenly venerates, only reveal themselves in extremely intense large-scale wars, or total warfare. The Spirit Might King's initiation of war, including asking his brother King Lingxian to intervene, was an anticipated event. But that King Lingxian had grown to the extreme caught King Qijue off guard, for core royals indeed have a unique advantage, yet reaching the extreme and fully excavating their bloodline power is a rare feat at least. King Qijue hadn't achieved it over countless eons. Damn it. From the battlefield's rear, Red Pine King shuddered as he saw all great venerables from his side lifted by a single hand of King Lingxian. At this moment, he realized his prior order for all great venerables to retreat through the space-time passage back to Qingfen City was a grave miscalculation. The core royals who have reached the extreme are indeed powerful, with the peak great venerables standing no chance before them. Yet, this extreme power of the core royals is merely formidable in presence, mundane in terms of suppression by rules. The Purple Dream domain's more than 20 great venerable forces, originally dispersed across various battlefield lines, would be difficult for King Lingxian to hunt down individually even if they retreated to Qingfen City. Not to mention that King Lingxian must also spare attention to suppress King Qijue. But Red Pine King had all great venerables gather through the space-time passage? That was akin to placing all great venerables in one spot, thus providing King Lingxian an opportunity to net them all. just like trying to catch dozens of big fish scattered across a pond, demanding considerable effort, and possibly letting some slip away. Yet when all big fish are gathered in a region, a simple sweep with a net will suffice. Defeated. Red Pine King looked upward towards a higher space-time. Although he couldn't see the exact scene, he knew all great venerables had fallen into King Lingxian's hands, their fate almost inevitable. Surely, these great venerables have means of preserving their lives. Even if they perish, they wouldn't be completely obliterated. But losing a primary battle form, these great venerables wouldn't be able to act for quite a long time. After all, regathering a peak state primary battle form isn't easy, not to mention the loss of intimate weaponry. Finding perfect substitutes in the short term would be difficult. Xianxia the novel of Net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. And to sum it up, even if they could act, it would be too late. King Lingxian would surely rush to Qingfen City at the fastest speed and seize it by absolute strength. Once Qingfen City falls, the Qingfen domain essentially collapses, almost declaring the failure of the war. Who would have thought this war ended so swiftly? Red Pine King remained silent, primarily due to his misjudgment of King Lingxian's strength. Before this, King Lingxian had never publicly declared his growth to the extreme. Compared to Red Pine King, King Chiju's burden, the Spirit Might King, who also observed the battlefield situation, was instead consumed by ecstasy. Sordid. The Spirit Might King was assured within himself, even if he already knew beforehand that his brother had reached the extreme of the core royals. Yet on a battlefield, countless variables could lead to unexpected turns. Perhaps King Chijue might have reached the extreme? Or King Chijue might possess a hidden trump weapon capable of resisting the extreme core royals. The variables and surprises are too numerous. But now, with King Lingxian capturing all enemy great venerables in one grasp, the battlefield's end was basically announced. Even as news from the battlefield reached the fierce Sun ancient country's capital, and powerhouses similar to King Lingxian rushed to the battlefield, it would be far too late. The distance between the fierce Sun capital and Qingfen domain is unknown. Even a heavenly venerate couldn't arrive immediately, and even with Qingfen City's space-time passage, a short time is needed, which is enough for King Lingxian to reach Qingfen City. In the higher space-time, King Lingxian, originally assured of victory, looked at his half-clenched right hand with a subtle shift in expression. World in Palm was one of his bloodline talents, forming a world within his palm that would begin to collapse as he closed his fingers. The ensuing destructive force from the world's collapse couldn't be withstood by even a peak great venerable. This method proved little against rivals of similar tier, yet to those weaker, it was an ultimate weapon. Yet now, King Lingxian's face was somber, clearly sensing a force preventing his fingers from closing. Accurately speaking, it wasn't hindering the closing of his fingers, but the collapse of the world within his grip. The originally haikus about to be completely annihilated world was supported by an invisible force, rendering King Lingxian's fingers unable to clasp shut. Who is it? King Lingxian furrowed his brows. From among the many great venerables suppressed within his world in Palm, undoubtedly the strongest were those few peak great venerables, Great Venerate Hongye, Fire Axe Great Venerable, Lord Qingfen, etc. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1120, Lin Yuan and King Lingxian, subscription requested, _2 But these great venerates, none of them could block the power of their own palm world. Could it be Hongye has broken through? King Lingxian gazed at his half-clenched right hand. At this moment, not only could he not completely clench his right hand, but even the control over the world within his palm became hazy, unable to determine what exactly was happening inside. Among all the great venerates in Qingfen domain, Hongye Great Venerate undoubtedly had the highest potential, pursuing two paths of chaotic evolution with great hope of stepping into Heavenly Venerate. In the world within his palm, Great Venerate Hongye, Fire Axe Great Venerate, and numerous other great venerates were astonished at the scene before them. The collapse of the 5 heavenly pillars just now, the collapse of the heavens and earth from 4 directions in time and space, had left all the great venerates in despair. Yet at this moment, Lin Yuan suddenly emerged, raising his hand to block the imminent complete destruction of the world, even forcefully halting the falling 5 pillars, leaving them in a state of half-collapse. Galaxy Great Venerate? He actually possesses such power? I can sense that the destructive force of the surrounding world is enough to easily obliterate a peak Great Venerate, yet Galaxy Great Venerate blocked it? Galaxy Great Venerate didn't just block it, he isolated the collapsing world. The various Great Venerates found it unbelievable. Blocking the destructive force of a collapsing world and isolating the collapsing force are entirely different matters. For instance, in a rapidly flowing river, blocking the impact of the flow and isolating that section of water presents entirely different challenges. Galaxy Great Venerate Hongya watched Lin Yuan's single-handed effort to isolate the collapsing world, his heart understandably shaken. To what extent has my disciple grown? Lord Qingfen was not much calmer. Compared to other great venerates, he knew many of Lin Yuan's secrets, such as his core royal status. Yet even for a core royal member to withstand the collapse of the surrounding world, at least reaching the level of King Qijue was necessary. And how long had Lin Yuan been a great venerate? Indeed, after Lin Yuan had defeated Thunder's Spear Great Honored earlier, demonstrating nearly peak Great Venerate strength, Lord Qingfen deduced Lin Yuan had stepped into Great Venerate. However, even for a core royal, stepping into Great Venerate required time to grow. But Lin Yuan? Everyone, when I break open this world later, you'd better get as far away as possible. Lin Yuan glanced at the other great venerates around him. In fact, even if King Lingshan didn't make a move against him, Lin Yuan didn't plan to stand by idly and watch the downfall of Qingfen domain. After all, Lord Qingfen had treated him well. Previously, Lin Yuan needed to comprehend the war machine and perfect the fusion of the universe within him, devouring the fierce sun source. Despite not reaching peak strength yet, even taking action couldn't affect the battle's outcome. It might even lead to him being targeted, affecting his cultivation and enlightenment. Thus, he kept a low profile as much as possible. But now, with the universe within and the fierce sun source completely fused, Lin Yuan's strength had significantly advanced. Even when facing heavenly venerate, he could retreat unscathed, and in this Feng Yuan world, as long as he didn't act recklessly and provoke the founders of ancient countries, he could live without fear. Get far away? The great venerates exchanged glances and immediately nodded. Galaxy Great Venerate, rest assured, once you break this world, we will definitely run far away. Indeed, even if we can't help you, Galaxy, we certainly won't hold you back. If any of us haven't escaped far by then, Galaxy Great Venerate, don't worry about us. If we're affected, so be it. The great venerates, with sharp insight, assessed Lin Yuan's ability to easily block the collapse of the surrounding world and judged his strength far exceeded expectations. Even if not as powerful as King Lingshan, he was on par with someone like King Qijue. They were clearly not suited to participate in such battles among beings of this level. Lin Yuan nodded. With his strength, breaking open the surrounding world was naturally simple. But he feared the other great venerates wouldn't react fast enough, so he spoke up in advance. Open! Lin Yuan looked up at the 5 nearly fallen pillars, a terrifying aura centering on him spreading in all directions. In a higher dimension, King Qijue, who was being suppressed, looked at King Lingshan and sensed something amiss. Because at this moment, King Lingshan's right hand wasn't fully clenched, his expression was fluctuating. An unforeseen variable has appeared. Before King Qijue could continue pondering, he saw King Lingshan, standing there motionless, his half-clenched right hand's 5 fingers involuntarily spreading open. Swish, swish, swish. Time and space shattered widely. Dozens of figures fled together, without hesitation, traversing the void in all directions. At the same time, Lin Yuan's figure stopped not far away. Is that you? King Lingshan stared at Lin Yuan. At the moment when the world within his palm was broken, he saw the source that prevented him from tightly gripping his right hand, the great lord of the galaxy who once did him a favor. Galaxy? King Qijue was somewhat shocked too. He did not know what had happened within the world in King Lingxian's palm. But ultimately all the great venerables escaped and immediately distanced themselves from the battlefield. Only Lin Yuan didn't leave. Clearly all this was related to the great lord of the galaxy. King Lingxian. Lin Yuan looked at King Lingxian and said with a smile. The galaxy. At the rear of the battlefield, King Red Pine also had a look of surprise. The escaped great venerables immediately informed him of everything that had happened in the world within King Lingxian's palm. Good. King Red Pine experienced initial confusion, then a look of delight appeared on his face. The great lord of the galaxy suddenly displayed strength no weaker than King Qijue, directly reversing the tide of war. Under these circumstances, the great venerables survived, and as long as they could safely retreat to Qingfen City, relying on the city's protective formation, they had hopes of turning the situation around before the capital's reinforcements arrived. For King Red Pine, who was already prepared for the failure of the war, this was an unexpected joy. Rumble. Lin Yuan forcibly broke King Lingxian's world within his palm, causing a flaw to appear in the aura of this core royal who had grown to the peak. King Qijue, who was being suppressed by King Lingxian, seized the opportunity to struggle with full force and finally broke free from the restraint. Sir the Nellfire. NT website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Great Lord of the Galaxy, it's thanks to you this time. King Qijue appeared not far away and said to Lin Yuan with a slight gratitude. By now, he too understood what had transpired, knowing it was all because of Lin Yuan. Without Lin Yuan's eruption, all the great venerables might have perished, and King Lingxian might have already reached Qingfen City. No matter, Lin Yuan said casually. The distant King Lingxian, despite standing still, managed to exert slight pressure on him, which piqued Lin Yuan's interest a bit. I would ask the great lord of the galaxy to join me in holding King Lingxian back. King Qijue quickly conveyed his thoughts, having recognized Lin Yuan, considering this great lord of the galaxy as a power of the same level as himself. Facing the core royal King Lingxian who had grown to his limits, King Qijue did not have confidence to resist him alone, but if he could join forces with another power of the same level, even if they couldn't win, they could secure a chance to retreat in one piece. No need to join forces. Looking at King Lingxian, whose aura became increasingly terrifying, Lin Yuan suddenly stepped forward. I'll handle it myself. You'll handle it yourself? King Qijue looked at Lin Yuan, somewhat unable to comprehend. Handle it yourself? Before King Qijue could continue speaking, Lin Yuan had already made his move. A supremely intense force field instantly swept across a range of millions of miles, forming the fierce sun world naturally as a result of the operation of the divine body of fierce Sunday below. Zi Meng and the nearby great venerables clearly felt the changes in the surrounding world. They could not perceive the scene in the higher spaces, nor would the spirit might king specifically inform them. So they could only keep guessing in their minds. Fierce sun burning heaven. It was Lin Yuan's first time to fully operate the divine body of fierce Sunday. With the terrifying foundation of the inner universe supporting him, even with ordinary physique, he could unleash remarkable power, let alone with a killing physique like the divine body of fierce sun. The limitless fierce sun world operated, pressing down on King Lingxian. What? Whether it was King Qijue standing ready beside Lin Yuan, or King Red Pine watching from the rear of the battlefield, and even King Lingxian himself, felt a bit overwhelmed. Rumble. King Lingxian retreated 4 steps before finally stopping, having dissipated the suppression from the fierce sun world. I was actually injured? King Lingxian took a deep breath, looking at Lin Yuan as if facing a formidable enemy. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1121. This Power. King Qijue's pupils contracted in the distance. He was still wondering why Lin Yuan didn't join forces with him to fight against King Lingxian when he witnessed this earth-shaking strike. The power of a galactic great lord, comparable to a core royal family grown to the limit? Or is the galactic great lord himself a core royal family grown to the limit? King Qijue was filled with uncertainty. Lin Yuan's strike already proved his strength. Even if King Qijue exerted his full power, he couldn't produce such a strike. Theoretically, a normal great lord might match the potential of a core royal family grown to the limit without relying on the bloodline power of the founder. But that's just theoretical. Such a great lord is even rarer than a heavenly venerate. A core royal family grown to the limit can reach that level with the bloodline power of the founder, so how can a normal great lord reach that level? Therefore, King Qijue was more inclined to believe Lin Yuan was a core royal family grown to the limit. Moreover, what Lin Yuan just exhibited was clearly the fierce sun world inherent in the fierce sun divine body. Tia the novel and Fung. Et website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. A core royal family traveling outside my fierce sun ancient country? King Qijue pondered silently. Fierce sun ancient country has existed for countless ages, and some core royal families who have grown to the limit often venture out to break the shackles that prevent them from stepping into heavenly venerate. They often choose to travel outside, walking through various ancient countries. The resources and inheritance of the fierce sun ancient country cannot offer the hope for further advancement, so they borrow the power inheritance of other ancient countries. Of course, such core royal families are extremely rare, as the number of core royal families is scarce, and even rarer are those who plan to travel various ancient countries after reaching the limit. Galaxy. King Lingshan gazed at Lin Yuan, his mind filled with turbulent thoughts. He too made the same conjecture as King Qijue, thinking Lin Yuan is a core royal family from fierce sun ancient country traveling outside. It happened that he passed by Qingfen domain, happened to encounter Spirit Might King starting a war, happened to arrive when King Lingshan revealed all his strength, many coincidences led to the current scene. My luck? King Lingshan felt somewhat helpless. If any of these coincidences hadn't aligned, this event wouldn't have occurred. His luck was indeed not good. This is troublesome. King Lingshan looked at Lin Yuan. If the opponent was an extreme core royal family of the same caliber as him, then the plan to invade Qingfen domain was essentially a failure. Not only was it a failure, but Purple Dream domain also had to prevent an invasion from Qingfen domain. After all, beside Lin Yuan, there was King Qijue on their side. King Qijue might not have grown to the limit, but he is not someone a peak great lord can match. Currently, there is no one strong enough in Purple Dream domain to hold back King Qijue. Is Galaxy really a core royal family from my ancient country? An extreme core royal family? In the distance, a group of great lords from Qingfen domain were looking at each other. They could sense the power of Lin Yuan's strike. Having reached the level of great lord, their vision was sharp, and they immediately made similar conjectures. After all, only this hypothesis barely made logical sense to explain what was happening before them. Qingfen, I didn't expect you to have such fortune. A peak great lord glanced at Lord Qingfen. As for the master-disciple relationship between Lord Qingfen and Lin Yuan, it was nothing more than this extreme core royal family traveling the world, hiding his identity. He might even have certain agreements with Lord Qingfen, and is temporarily staying hidden in Qingfen City. Lord Qingfen blinked his eyes, inevitably self-doubting. I have grown to the limit, but have never faced other extreme core royal families from ancient countries. King Lingshan stared at Lin Yuan, a faint battle intent flickering in his eyes. At this moment, he had forsaken the outcome of the war and only wished to have a proper fight with Lin Yuan, the extreme core royal family from fierce sun ancient country. Originally, King Lingshan was reluctant to intervene in wars of low intensity. If not for Spirit Might King's involvement, he wouldn't have come. Now that he has encountered a peer-level opponent, in the face of an impending war defeat, King Lingshan longed to engage Lin Yuan in battle. The previous battle with King Qijue didn't even count as warm-up. It couldn't be compared with Lin Yuan's suppressive strike using the fierce sun divine body just now. Galaxy, take my slash. King Lingshan extended his right hand. A silver long knife appeared in his hand, gently slicing toward Lin Yuan. A subtle, thin blade light flashed and vanished, slicing through the chaotic time and space, and came towards Lin Yuan. Lin Yuan stood unmoving, the fierce sun divine body operating autonomously. The closer it got to him, the more intense the heat became, forming layers of time and space. The collision between the blade light and the heat spread shockwaves far and wide, sweeping across billions of miles. This strike from King Lingshan was already at full force. Its power was so great that even the shockwaves caused King Qijue, watching the battle nearby, to retreat violently. So this is the clash between extreme core royal families. King Qijue's expression was serious. He too had sparred with extreme core royal families from fierce Sun ancient country, but those were intramural duels and the opponent would naturally not use full power. Buzz. The shockwaves continued to spread further, causing the great lords watching from afar to tremble in their hearts. Is this the strength of extreme core royal families? No wonder they can exchange a few moves with a heavenly venerate. The great lords couldn't help but think, among heavenly venerates, extreme core royal families are the strongest, which is basic knowledge among various ancient countries. So it was blocked? King Lingshan, holding the silver long knife, looked at Lin Yuan who remained unmoved, and sliced again. This knife emitted blade light that split into 2, then 4, then 8. In no time, the entire world around King Lingshan was filled with densely packed silver blade light. Rise. Endless silver blade light formed a great array, enveloping Lin Yuan. Try something else, these tricks can't really harm me. Seeing this, Lin Yuan gently flicked his sleeve. The fierce sun divine body operated once more. The terrifying world of the fierce sun contracted, causing the infinite silver blade light array to quickly disintegrate. King Lingshan withdrew his silver long blade. A swirling vortex faintly appeared in his eyes, and a soul-shaking mental impact descended. A mental attack technique? Lin Yuan immediately detected it, but his mental will was entirely hidden deep within his inner universe. Currently, Lin Yuan's inner universe was unparalleled in its vastness, the source of the fierce sun stationed at the center, with the universe and space-time transformed by the infinite void, surging grandly. The mental will attack technique that King Lingshan exerted with all his strength was diluted and dissipated the moment it entered the inner universe. This guy. King Lingshan frowned, unsure if his mental awareness attack had any effect, let alone shake Lin Yuan's will. Since that's the case, King Lingshan didn't want to continue probing Lin Yuan, whether it was the previous 2 blade strikes or the mental attack technique, they were just to test Lin Yuan's capabilities. After all, King Lingshan was facing an extreme core royal clan member of the same level. Naturally he had to be cautious. Next is my strongest killing move. Even before the words left his mouth, King Lingshan's figure dissipated on the spot, replaced by endless spirits. What is spirit? The spirit is a special kind of energy, existing in all things. The ancestor of the Daling ancient country is the source of the world's spirit. The ancestor of the fierce sun ancient country is the eternal fierce sun in the sky, high above, worshipped by all living beings. But the ancestor of the Daling ancient country is the spirit of all things in the world, the source of all spirits, existing among everything. I can feel the extreme abundance of spirit within you. Merge with me. The voice of King Lingshan faintly sounded. At this moment he had transformed into the spirit of the world, even vaguely able to control the spirit within all things. Lin Yuan's brow slightly furrowed. He could sense King Lingshan nearby, but couldn't pinpoint his exact location. At the same time, Lin Yuan also noticed the qi within his body beginning to agitate. Is this the technique of controlling the spirit of all things from the Daling ancient country? Lin Yuan thought to himself, the Daling ancient country frequently clashed with the fierce Sun ancient country, and Lin Yuan naturally had heard of their techniques and abilities. However, with Lin Yuan's mastery over his physical body, breaking free could be described as perfect. The great lord of the Daling ancient country couldn't control the spirit within him. But the technique King Lingshan displayed broke the shackles and could influence the spirit within Lin Yuan once more. Of course, it was only an influence, far from control. Even so, Lin Yuan felt his internal qi somewhat chaotic, and a frustration began to build in his heart. Forget it, I won't play with you anymore. Lin Yuan wanted to witness the techniques of the core royal family of the Daling ancient country, but now he lost interest. Rumble. Lin Yuan slightly moved his mind, and the physical body divine ability world unfolded. The invisible world descended and merged with the fierce sun world. For a moment, Lin Yuan's control over the surrounding space-time reached an inconceivable level. The power of the divine ability world is determined by the inner universe. And the current inner universe of Lin Yuan? Buzz buzz buzz. Lin Yuan stood there, seemingly transformed into an eternal fierce sun. Wherever the sunlight touched became his domain, points of spiritual light seemed forced to emerge, converging again to recreate the image of King Lingshan. King Lingshan looked somewhat bewildered. This move of transforming into spirit was not about having a high offensive power, but it was extremely troublesome, even requiring some effort from a heavenly venerate to deal with. But Lin Yuan? He directly forced him out of the spirit state? How is this possible? The methods of the core royal clan of Daling are only SOSO. Looking at King Lingshan, Lin Yuan's physical body divine ability world formed a terrible suppression, leaving King Lingshan unable to resist at all. His physical body, soul, and will began to crumble piece by piece. This kind of power? Impossible? King Lingshan found it hard to believe. He struggled with all his might, yet to no avail. He could only watch himself disintegrate piece by piece. I have grown to the extreme, an invincible great lord. How is this possible? How is this possible? King Lingshan stared at Lin Yuan, filled with confusion. In this source world, among the many ancient countries, those core royal clansmen who have grown to the extreme are considered invincible great lords. Invincible great lord? Lin Yuan withdrew the divine ability world, his gaze indifferent. You are an invincible great lord. Then what am I? If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1122, Visitors from the Capital, Request Subscription. Lin Yuan stood in the void, quietly watching the form and spirit of King Lingshan disintegrate. Then, he casually collected the various weapons and treasures left by this Daling royal family member. The royal families of the Daling ancient country, their methods are strange and difficult, especially that ability to transform into spirit. Even a heavenly venerate would probably have a headache dealing with it. Lin Yuan sighed slightly in his heart. Transforming into spirit is to integrate into spirit and become spirit. And spirit exists among all things. King Lingshan's move, as long as it doesn't face a heavenly venerate, is practically invincible. But unfortunately, I just happened to completely counter it. Lin Yuan thought to himself, King Lingshan transformed into spirit, blending into everything. But Lin Yuan's physical body divine ability world forms an extrinsic universe centered on himself. Within the scope of the extrinsic universe, he can control everything. Actually, merely relying on the control power of the extrinsic universe, even if he can suppress King Lingshan who has become spirit, has merged into spirit, it is still difficult to force him out. The duration of the extrinsic universe is limited. But after Lin Yuan's internal universe merged and devoured the source of the fierce sun, the scope of the extrinsic universe covering the area is equivalent to the fierce sun opening the heavens. Within this range, Lin Yuan's control over everything in the surrounding time and space reaches nearly its peak, which is why he could easily force King Lingshan out of the state of merging into spirit. By combining the internal universe as the foundation, the divine ability world, and the divine ability fierce sun opening the heavens, Lin Yuan's methods become terrifyingly vast. This is just the enhancement of the divine ability world. The improvement of his own foundation after the internal universe merges and devours the source of the fierce sun is also immeasurable. Moreover, with the concealment of the internal universe, unless Lin Yuan goes all out or activates the divine ability world, fierce sun opening the heavens, with great connection to the ancestor of fierce sun, won't be easily exposed. Search asterisk the novel net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. After collecting the various weapons and treasures left by King Lingshan, Lin Yuan glanced at them. Among the numerous weapons, the silver long knife was the most striking, and it was also King Lingshan's primary combat weapon. Heavenly Venerate level weapon? Lin Yuan instantly recognized the level of this weapon, a Heavenly Venerate of this realm, comparable to the Great Saint in the Chaos Void. Not bad. Lin Yuan was slightly satisfied. Although he didn't wield blades, a Heavenly Venerate level weapon could be easily exchanged for other resources of the same level. This silver long knife, considered King Lingshan's main combat weapon, is superior even among Heavenly Venerate level weapons. Besides the silver long knife, there was also a Heavenly Venerate level armor and several other weapons. In terms of treasures and rare items, what King Lingshan carried with him was remarkably plentiful. The core royal families of this Feng Yuan world, they are truly rich. Lin Yuan's heart was joyful, and he could also infer that these weapons, treasures, and rare items probably made up most of King Lingshan's assets. Under normal circumstances, participating in the wars of two ancient countries, even if only in local skirmishes, those great lords who participate generally wouldn't carry precious weapons and treasures with them. After all, the variables of war are too great, and if one were to fall, those would all end up in the hands of the enemy. But King Lingshan? As a core royal family member grown to the limit, King Lingshan never imagined he would die. In all the possible scenarios King Lingshan envisioned, the worst outcome was that there would also be a core royal family sitting in Qingfen domain, and they would fight desperately with him, leading to a stalemate in the battle. In any possible result, King Lingshan never expected anything to happen to himself. This is also very normal. A core royal family who has grown to the limit is invincible among great lords, unless encountering a Heavenly Venerate. Otherwise, it is very challenging to fall to death, and a Heavenly Venerate? On the battlefield, once a Heavenly Venerate level strongman appears, it indicates that the intensity of the war has fully escalated. And a high and mighty Heavenly Venerate wouldn't go so far as to kill him, a core royal family member at the limit. After roughly scanning through the spoils of war, Lin Yuan looked down at the battlefield below. At this moment, on the battlefield, 20 or 30 great lords of the Deling ancient country, whether newly promoted or peak great lords, all began to flee madly. It was evident they also knew the result of the fight between Lin Yuan and King Lingshan. Trying to escape? Lin Yuan's thoughts flickered. To deal with these ordinary great lords, Lin Yuan naturally didn't need to activate the divine ability world again. The power of the fierce sun world swept over, and like fish in water, all 20 or 30 great lords were captured and suppressed. Galaxy. The hearts of the 20 or 30 great lords were filled with anxiety and fear. Rest assured I won't kill you, Lin Yuan stated directly. The most cost-effective way to deal with these war captives is not to kill them, but to wait for the war to end, and then let the Deling ancient country ransom them back. Lin Yuan had no hatred towards these great lords' war captives. They were simply on opposing sides, so there naturally wouldn't be any venting of anger. And even if killed, the other side would not completely die, as life-saving measures could still revive them, albeit at the loss of a primary combat body. The meaning isn't very significant. Exchanging these captives for the Deling ancient country's ransom is what serves Lin Yuan's interests most. Great lords fought for the Deling ancient country, and now being captured, would the Deling ancient country really stand by idly? Spirit Might King? Lin Yuan's expression moved slightly, looking toward a distant place. There, a presence was rapidly retreating. Whoosh! Lin Yuan's figure disappeared. Moments later, when he reappeared, he was already near the Spirit Might King. Compared to these ancient royal families who comprehend and exploit bloodline power, Lin Yuan's mastery of the rules is equally adept, particularly the spatiotemporal fusion rule, which he achieved in the 8th realm long ago. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1123. Visitors from the capital, subscription requested. _2 Previously, by continually comprehending the chaos secret patterns, I enhanced my perception of the chaos rule, which also drove my understanding of thousands of other rules like the spatiotemporal fusion rule. Therefore, in the pursuit and assassination aspect, unless those royal family members who are skilled at these techniques, no one can escape Lin Yuan. Galaxy, you want to capture me? The Spirit Might King sensed Lin Yuan's aura approaching, so he simply stopped running and stood silently on the spot. Impossible! The Spirit Might King shook his head, and immediately his physical body and soul began to perish. Other great lords can be captured and then have the Daling ancient country ransom them back. But he, the Spirit Might King, cannot do such a thing. This is not about ransom, but as Daling royalty, becoming a prisoner of war to the fierce Sun ancient country? This would be a disgrace to the Daling ancient country. Upon realizing he couldn't escape, the Spirit Might King decisively chose to obliterate this physical body. Compared to losing all face as a prisoner of war, the Spirit Might King would rather abandon this physical body. Lin Yuan saw this, feeling slightly regretful, but he had expected it. The reason he didn't spare the King Lingshan but directly killed him was because he felt the opponent was impossible to suppress. Upon realizing he wasn't Lin Yuan's opponent, the King Lingshan would surely choose to end himself as well. This is also the only thing the ancient country's royalty can do. Quite a few treasures. Lin Yuan continued to collect the Spirit Might King's remaining treasures, though not as rich as King Lingshan, but quite affluent among the great lords. This time, taking action. A smile appeared on Lin Yuan's face, considering the wealth carried by the royal families such as King Lingshan and Spirit Might King, and the treasures and rare items of dozens of great lords. For those dozens of great lords, while Lin Yuan had the idea of exchanging them for ransom, he definitely would take the many treasures and weapons they carried before bargaining. After tallying them briefly, Lin Yuan found he was already enormously profited. Furthermore, besides those trophies acquired from the enemy's hands, Lin Yuan could also use the meritorious service obtained on the battlefield to exchange treasures from the Red Pine King. And with Lin Yuan's recent performance, nearly overturning the battle situation single-handedly, how significant would the meritorious service be? Daling ancient country. In a certain mansion within the capital. Deep within layers of formation prohibitions, a piece of white crystal stone suddenly emitted a faint glow, and then a figure coalesced. It was the King Lingshan. The resurrected King Lingshan using life-saving means appeared extremely weak. However, compared to physical and soul weakness, the King Lingshan was also greatly troubled mentally. Did I really die? Noble, dying at the hands of a life under a heavenly venerate? The King Lingshan murmured, feeling sure Lin Yuan was definitely not a heavenly venerate, at most like him, a core royalty of the fierce Sun ancient country at their limit. The core royalty reaching their limit, their combat power being virtually invincible among the great lords, even facing fellow core royalty at the same level, unable to achieve victory, but also hard to perish, let alone being directly slain. Was it because my bloodline talent was restrained by that galaxy? The King Lingshan began to retrospect, flashes of combat scenes crossing his mind. He employed the strongest killing move, merging into the spirit of all things, but in the end, that galaxy used some method unknown to him, reached the ultimate control over the surrounding world and space, even reverse controlling the spirit of all things. This was also the key to King Lingshan's downfall. After merging into spirit, he was nearly in an undefeated position, but similarly lost many other techniques. Added to breaking out of the merged spirit state and being mentally shocked, that's how he was so easily killed by Galaxy. If I hadn't utilized transforming into spirit this killing move, maybe I could have held on a bit longer. The King Lingshan mused silently. Search * the Oval Fire. At website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Just held on a bit longer. Although the King Lingshan realized he was restrained by Galaxy, that ultimate control power seeming almost above everything, even if he hadn't transformed into spirit, the outcome wouldn't be different. At most he could hold on a bit longer. By withdrawal time for those great lords of the Daling ancient country? Galaxy, could it be that the core royalty of the fierce sun ancient country made progress in breaking through the shackles of the celestial race? That's why Galaxy possessed such combat power? The King Lingshan calmed his mind, speculating inwardly. Lin Yuan's power clearly exceeded normal limits, surpassing core royalty by a large margin, yet not crossing into the celestial race. That's why the King Lingshan harbored this suspicion. This could also be a good thing. It indicates that once we core royalty reach the limit, it's not a roadblock ahead, there's still potential for further improvement. The King Lingshan had a burning look in his eyes. Compared to his own defeat, discovering that the path ahead could still be taken would be of greater help to him. Swish. Lin Yuan put away the spoils from the Spirit Might King. His figure vanished, returning once more to the battlefield. Senior Galaxy. At this moment, King Qijue stepped forward excitedly, expressing his gratitude. I never expected you to pass by here and lend a helping hand. If not for you this time, dozens of surrounding domains would likely have fallen. It's nothing. Lin Yuan looked at King Qijue, immediately understanding his meaning. King Qijue must have taken him for a core member of the fierce sun ancient country who had grown to the limit. After all, Lin Yuan's power was evident, further enhanced by the methods involving the fierce sun divine body. If Lin Yuan wasn't an ultimate core royal, even King Qijue wouldn't believe it. Lin Yuan did not deny it, as this could indeed explain his current level of strength. Senior Galaxy. At this moment, the Red Pine King also came over, his tone apologetic, saying, Earlier I didn't know your identity, so I spoke in that manner. I hope you can forgive me, forgive me. Lin Yuan had defeated the Thunder Spear Great Honored, and the Red Pine King had personally summoned Lin Yuan. The two had exchanged a few words. In fact, the Red Pine King's attitude back then was quite cordial, without displaying any kingly demeanor, but once considering Lin Yuan's identity, the Red Pine King felt somewhat uneasy. No need to say such things. Lin Yuan didn't care much. What should we do next? Invade the Purple Dream domain? Lin Yuan glanced at the two royal great lords and said casually. Now, all the great lords from the Purple Dream domain and dozens of surrounding domains had been suppressed by Lin Yuan, rendering the enemy's dozens of domains as mere empty shells. As long as the Red Pine King was willing to attack, there would definitely be little resistance faced. Invade the Purple Dream domain? The Red Pine King hesitated slightly, then shook his head and said, Let's forget it. With the fall of the King Lingshan, the Daoling ancient country will certainly take action, attacking the Purple Dream domain now. Even if we can capture it, it will be hard to defend, there's no need for this. The Red Pine King had little ambition. He sought no merits but avoided mistakes. Merely preserving the Qingfen domain was sufficient. Fair enough. Lin Yuan nodded. The Red Pine King's considerations were not unreasonable. In the distance, more than 20 great lords looked at each other. The scene of Lin Yuan battling the King Lingshan earlier had truly left them in shock. Originally thought to be a fierce fight, in the end, the King Lingshan did not last long. Senior Galaxy's power. The Fire Axe Great Venerable looked shocked, and the Great Venerate Hongye was no better off. Especially the Great Venerate Hongye, who prior had quite a good relationship with Lin Yuan, never even considered this newly advanced Great Lord to be a core royal grown to the limit. Especially given Lin Yuan's displayed strength, it clearly wasn't just about having grown to the limit as a core royal. Qingfen City. The area of the teleportation formation. Currently, the largest teleportation formation suddenly lit up, and after dozens of breaths, several figures emerged. These figures, led by an old man with a red beard, followed by 3 or 4 young men and women. The King Lingshan of the Daoling ancient country has indeed grown to the limit, amazing. A young man spoke, glancing around and slightly relaxing, it seems we arrived in time. Currently, there was no major issue at Qingfen City, and the teleportation formation was operating smoothly, indicating that the King Lingshan hadn't yet acted against Qingfen City. Thus, it wasn't in vain for them to come. These figures were the support sent by the capital of the fierce Sun ancient country upon learning that the King Lingshan's power exceeded expectations. The 3 or 4 young men were all royal subjects at the Great Lord level, And the leading old man with the red beard was a core royal who had grown to the limit. In the entire fierce Sun ancient country, core royals were scarce, and those who had grown to the limit even scarcer. The red-bearded old man had arrived so quickly, indicating he highly valued the war between the Qingfen domain and the Purple Dream domain. The red-bearded old man's gaze was slightly different as he looked towards the battlefield. What's wrong? 3 or 4 young men watched the red-bearded old man stand still, showing no intention of rushing to the battlefield, feeling anxious. Although they didn't know what King Qijue and the Red Pine King relied upon to hold off a core royal grown to the limit like the King Lingshan for so long. But clearly the sooner they get over there the better. Don't worry. The red-bearded old man glanced at the young men, and with some confusion, said, "The war is already over. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible." Chapter 11:24 The War is Over? A few young men and women looked at the red-bearded old man. They had just arrived and the war was over? And how did the war end? Which side won? King Lingshan is dead, killed by a strong warrior called Galaxy. The red-bearded old man patiently explained. Just now, King Qisong had already informed him of the latest intelligence from the battlefield. And even without King Qisong, he would soon learn of such matters. King Lingshan is dead? The young men took a deep breath. Now Qingfen City was safe and sound, yet the red-bearded old man said the war was over. They vaguely speculated that perhaps an unforeseen turn of events on the battlefield led to King Lingshan's defeat. But the red-bearded old man said, King Lingshan is dead? Dead and defeated are completely different matters. According to the information they received, King Lingshan was a core royal clan member who had grown to his limits. Such a powerful warrior? Who could kill him? A heavenly venerate? The entire fierce Sun ancient country only had a few heavenly venerates, each with a renowned name, and none called Galaxy. Did Qisong say that Galaxy is from our fierce Sun ancient country's core royal clan? The red-bearded old man pondered in his mind. Now that the war was over, and it ended with the fierce Sun ancient country's victory, he was not in any rush. Which clansman could it be? The red-bearded old man was curious. Indeed, the fierce Sun ancient country had some ancient core royal clan members who traveled abroad, attempting to find ways to break the chains of their bloodline. Come, let's pay a visit. The red-bearded old man glanced at the young men beside him, got up, and flew toward the battlefield. Since he was here, he also wanted to meet the core royal clan member King Qisong mentioned. After all, this Galaxy who decisively killed King Lingshan, his strength must far exceed a core royal clan member's limits. On the battlefield, Lin Yuan was casually chatting with King Qisong and King Qijue. If it weren't for Senior Galaxy's intervention, the Qingfen domain and several dozen surrounding domains would surely be lost, King Qisong said with emotion. Senior Galaxy's kindness to me is truly immense. Although the war failed, it was partly because King Lingshan's strength exceeded expectations. But a loss is a loss. Having lost dozens of large domains of territory, King Qisong would certainly have to go to the capital for punishment. It's not a matter of kindness, Lin Yuan shook his head. Even without King Qisong, he wouldn't have stood by and watched Qingfen domain fall. To you, Senior Galaxy, it may not be much, but to me, it's an enormous kindness. King Qisong spoke solemnly, but am not sure how I should thank you, Senior. Treasures and rare items. Senior Galaxy surely wouldn't care for them, and what Senior Galaxy desires, I can't provide. King Qisong himself is just an ordinary royalty, his strength slightly stronger than the peak of a great lord but far off from extreme core royalty. With such a disparity in power, what looks like a treasure to King Qisong, to Lin Yuan, naturally isn't worth considering. So I've decided to forego all merits from this war and transfer them all to Senior Galaxy, allowing you to choose from the national treasury in the capital. King Qisong proposed. This war to resist the Daling ancient country's invasion, King Qisong as the highest commander would be punished for losing. but if they won, he would surely receive massive rewards. Unlike powerful figures like Lord Qingfen and Great Venerate Hongya, they would receive rewards given by King Qisong himself. While the rewards King Qisong received came directly from the Fierce Sun capital. The Fierce Sun capital is the core of the Fierce Sun ancient country, where countless treasures of this source world converge, highly coveted even by heavenly venerate level powerhouses. If you give me your merits, what will you do? Lin Yuan looked at King Qisong. Without Senior Galaxy, I wouldn't even have merits to speak of and would already be on my way to receive punishment. King Qisong said, I am already very satisfied with the current outcome. Besides this war's merits, I really don't know what else could repay Senior. Senior Galaxy, please accept it. Without you, Qisong would have faced punishment and I would have suffered great losses too. King Qijue chimed in. At the very least, his primary battle body would definitely have been destroyed by King Lingshan. His personal weapons would not be preserved, plus the time and effort needed to cultivate a new primary battle body. Thinking about it, King Qijue felt fortunate. If it weren't for Lin Yuan's intervention, the consequences would be unimaginable. Lin Yuan looked at King Qisong's resolute expression, pondered for a while, and nodded, saying, In that case, I will accept it. I am glad Senior accepted. King Qisong's face broke into a smile. By the way, King Qisong seemed to recall something and immediately said, Senior, King Qibao wishes to meet you. King Qibao? Lin Yuan looked at King Qisong. As soon as King Lingshan revealed their extreme core royal strength, I immediately requested reinforcement from the capital. King Qisong explained, King Qibao is the strong warrior sent from the capital, specifically to counter King Lingshan. I see. Lin Yuan nodded. Specifically counter King Lingshan? Either an equal extreme core royal or a heavenly venerate. Lin Yuan speculated the latter was impossible. Dispatching heavenly venerate level force lightly in such a local war could very well drive the situation toward an unpredictable development. So, he is probably an ultimate core royal family member as well. King Qibao is here. Red Pine King looked toward Qingfen City, where at this moment a red-bearded elder's figure appeared, and then he flew over in this direction. After approaching a certain distance, the red-bearded elder no longer continued to teleport through space, but flew directly over. An ultimate core royal family member? Lin Yuan looked at the red-bearded elder from afar, faintly sensing a terrifying aura emanating from him. It was a terrifying aura not weaker than King Lingshan's. Soon enough, the red-bearded elder approached. This must be the Galaxy Brother. The red-bearded elder, known as King Qibao, looked at Lin Yuan with a smile. Let's go, we'll talk more slowly when we get back. Red Pine King, standing by, said, I have already ordered someone to prepare a special top-grade meal for us, so we can chat while we eat. Red Pine King had already arranged everything and immediately took Lin Yuan and others to his temporary small city cave residence. You family. Several old ancestors along with Yu Chaolong also received detailed intelligence reports about the war between Qingfen Domain and Purple Dream Domain. The war between the two major domains determined the future destiny of their families, so the Yu family was naturally extremely concerned. What? Yu Chaolong looked at the intelligence report in front of him, somewhat unable to react. In the war between the two domains, Galaxy Great Venerate suddenly took action, with an absolutely overwhelming stance, swept across the entire battlefield, and even the core royal family member King Lingshan died at the hands of Galaxy Great Venerate. This kind of news, which could be described as shocking, would definitely spread throughout the entire Qingfen domain at the fastest speed. After all, the fact that a core royal family member of Daling ancient country had died on the battlefield was sure to boost morale. However, Yu Chaolong and several old ancestors were left with a head full of confusion. Galaxy Great Venerate? How come this Galaxy Great Venerate sounds so familiar? Galaxy Great Venerate? I remember that Yan's Great Venerate title was Galaxy. In fact, upon seeing the words Galaxy Great Venerate, they had already associated it with Lin Yuan. Especially several of Yu family's old ancestors, as 12-layer self-Dao realm practitioners, their minds worked at lightning speed. How could an incident familiar to them appear? It wasn't familiarity but disbelief. Because the deeds of that galaxy great venerate in the intelligence report were simply unbelievable. King Lingshan had grown to become an ultimate core royal family member, claimed to be invincible among the great lords. Yet he perished at the hands of galaxy great venerate? Sar the novel of Net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. This galaxy great venerate, is it really Yu Yen whom they knew? Could there be some misunderstanding? Yu Qiaolong couldn't help but say, the content of the intelligence report was truly incredible, leading him to start doubting its truth. Not a misunderstanding. A great venerate has personally contacted me. An ancestor of the Yu family spoke with a trembling voice. Even though the Yu family had produced Yu Yen, a new great venerate, other great lords wouldn't contact the Yu family without reason. How significant is the status of a great venerate? How many are there in a major domain? This. Yu Qiaolong was in disbelief. It's still necessary to personally confirm this. Another Yu family ancestor looked at Yu Qiaolong. Qiaolong, later you will need to go to Qingfen City personally to see what the situation really is. Yes. Yu Qiaolong steadied his mind. He also wanted to know if the galaxy great venerate in the intelligence report, seemingly like a god, was really his son. Inside the temporary small city cave of Red Pine King, in a luxurious pavilion, Lin Yuan and King Qibao sat facing each other. As for Red Pine King, King Qijue, after chatting for a while and seeing that King Qibao and Lin Yuan had something to discuss, the two kings sensibly withdrew. Galaxy brother, you shouldn't be a core royal family member on a journey, right? King Qibao looked at Lin Yuan, testingly asked. Red Pine King and King Qijue hadn't reached the level of realization. King Qijue, although a core royal family member, hadn't grown to the ultimate level and hadn't accessed much information. So they believed Lin Yuan to be some ultimate core royal family member traveling by chance through Qingfen domain. But King Qibao? As an ultimate core royal family member, King Qibao knew most of the ultimate core royal family members of the ancient country and found none resembling Lin Yuan. Yes. Lin Yuan admitted frankly, I've been cultivating in the past, condensing seeds of the fierce sun one by one, and hence have acquired my current strength. Lord Qingfen believed Lin Yuan's bloodline experienced regression to an ancestral level, reaching the core royal family tier. Lin Yuan now followed Lord Qingfen's conjecture to explain himself, presenting as a fortunate individual whose bloodline regressed to an ancestral state. Fierce sun ancient country had existed for countless ages. Similar situations had indeed occurred where an individual's bloodline underwent regression to the core royal family level, eventually leading to their rise. This was also the most suitable and indisputable explanation for Lin Yuan, as condensing seeds of the fierce sun itself was beyond ordinary logic, something fundamentally unattainable for outsiders, except for core royal family members. So that's the case. King Qibao immediately accepted Lin Yuan's explanation, able to sense the abundant fierce sun aura from this galaxy great venerate. Even if the bloodline regressed to the core royal family tier, achieving this level of cultivation without external inheritance aid, King Qibao looked solemnly at Lin Yuan. Even those born within the core royal family in ancient country, enjoying all sorts of external supports, could find it challenging to reach the ultimate level. King Qijue was an example of this. But Lin Yuan? He had a regressed bloodline, received no external aid since childhood, yet achieved his current level. King Qibao looked at Lin Yuan with eyes filled with awe. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 11:25 The Importance of Lin Yuan. Please subscribe. The height that life can reach largely depends on two aspects. One is innate talent and aptitude. The other is the influence of external forces. Both are indispensable. In fact, the latter may even be more important than the former. Without external assistance, even with strong talent and aptitude, one would still take many detours. Conversely, as long as there are enough external influences and aids, even with mediocre talent and aptitude, the final achievement will not be much lower. Talent and aptitude determine the upper limit, while external influences determine the lower limit. In King Chibeo's view, Lin Yuan's bloodline reverts to his ancestors. There's no need to speak much about his talent and aptitude, it must be top-notch. But in the absence of guidance from the many resources and inheritances of the fierce Sun ancient country's royal family, if he can grow to the limit on his own, and even defeat and kill King Lingshan, who is also a core royal of the limit, this is absolutely unprecedented. At least in the endless ages, the fierce Sun ancient country has never produced such a prodigy. In the past, there were some cases of the revival of ancestral bloodlines in ancient countries, eventually leading to a rise. But here, rise refers to being nurtured by the ancient country before rising. And Lin Yuan? Before today, King Qibao had never heard of the name Galaxy. Lin Yuan had already risen without even contacting the royal family of the ancient country. If growing to the limit of the core royal family is not considered a rise, what is? Moreover, Lin Yuan not only grew to the limit, but also just killed King Lingshan, who was also a limit royal family. Brother Galaxy, you possess the Yang divine body, a descendant of the ancestor. Now I formally invite you to join my lineage of the fierce Sun ancient country's royal family. King Qibao composed himself and immediately invited. Upon confirming that Lin Yuan was indeed a pure descendant of the fierce Sun, King Qibeo's first thought was to draw him in, to completely draw Lin Yuan to the side of the ancient country. What a joke! For such a prodigy, what do you wait for if not to draw him in? If he were to be let go, King Qibao would probably regret it for billions or even 1,000,000,000,000 years. As for whether Lin Yuan's identity would cause any issues, King Qibao didn't think much about it. First, the dense fierce sun aura emanating from Lin Yuan was not fake. Second, what problems could arise? The fierce sun country is one of the strongest forces in this realm. No matter what links Lin Yuan has, it can bear them. These 2 points are enough. Join the lineage of the fierce Sun ancient country's royal family? Lin Yuan looked at King Qibao. In fact, even without King Qibeo's remarks, Lin Yuan had planned to visit the capital of the fierce Sun ancient country in a while. The ancestor of the fierce Sun ancient country is a 13th layer time life, and this is the only known 13th layer force currently confirmed by Lin Yuan. Of course, other ancient countries are not included in this scope. In the Chaos Void, numerous Chaos Great Saints and Supreme Great Saints are arduously seeking traces of 13th layer time life. Yet in this Feng Yuan world, is there a clear opportunity to contact them? Lin Yuan naturally wouldn't miss it. The hardest threshold for a complete 12th layer to break through to the 13th layer is passing through a time cycle. And how to pass through the time cycle, whether there are any auxiliary means, the Eye of Myriad Laws frankly said there aren't any. Spreading one's own path of evolution, strengthening anchor points and waymarks, technically speaking, isn't an auxiliary means. But the Eye of Myriad Laws is merely a secret treasure left by a 13th layer time life, naturally incomparable to a true 13th layer life. The Eye of Myriad Laws saying there is no way doesn't mean a true 13th layer time life has no way. Moreover, enhancing the potential to pass through the time cycle is still far off for Lin Yuan currently. His actual realm is only at the dominator level. Let's not mention it for now. There are many direct, visible benefits too, such as a massive amount of resources and inheritance. The importance of resources is unquestionable, and so is inheritance. Infinite Void is a 13th layer inheritance, allowing Lin Yuan's foundation to reach an immensely terrifying level. The ancestor of the fierce sun as a 13th layer time life presumably also left a corresponding 13th layer inheritance. If Lin Yuan were to obtain it, it would undoubtedly enhance his own strength substantially, although breaking through to the 13th layer is still far off. Enhancing one's foundation? That's needed at any time. CTH Novel Fire. Net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Brother Galaxy, most of this world's strongmen, especially those heavenly venerates, choose to join one of the 6 major ancient countries. There's nothing shameful about it. King Qibao said, leaving aside the other 5 major ancient countries, my fierce son ancient country has the many inheritance treasures bestowed by the ancestor. Those heavenly venerates wanting to go further? Relying on their own cultivation? How long would that take? Whether they can ultimately achieve it is also another matter. But by joining my fierce son ancient country, with a clear path to inheritance, it's much easier. King Qibao looked at Lin Yuan and continued, some great lords are unwilling to be bound, so they don't choose to join any ancient country, but the heavenly venerates. There's almost no neutral heavenly venerates. They've all already aligned with one or another ancient country's camp. I know. Lin Yuan nodded. Like the Great Lord Hongye and Great Lord Fire Axe, they haven't been ennobled by the fierce sun ancient country. And this is already the limit for strong men in the neutral camp. Without joining any country, relying solely on a Great Lord's own capabilities, the chance of stepping into a heavenly venerate is minimal. Even if they happen to become a heavenly venerate, upon realizing that heavenly venerate cultivation is many times harder than that of great lords, they will naturally join one ancient country, seeking further progress. If Brother Galaxy is willing to join my royal lineage, I will personally report to His Majesty, and the nurturing Brother Galaxy receives will undoubtedly be top-notch. King Qibao immediately assured. Unlike those heavenly venerates who joined allegiance, Lin Yuan's ancestral bloodline is rich, reaching the level of the core royal, and is naturally bound to the fierce sun ancient country. The royal family of the ancient country will certainly hold back when dealing with heavenly venerates who have joined allegiance, not cultivating them wholeheartedly, and even if they bestow inheritance, it won't be the top grade, most core inheritance. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1126. The Importance of Lin Yuan. Request subscription, _2 but Lin Yuan is different. Though part of the royal family, and a core member at that, if Lin Yuan wishes to join the royal bloodline, his status and treatment will far surpass those who have pledged allegiance as heavenly venerates. All right, I am willing to join. Lin Yuan did not hesitate, nodded and said, at present, the benefits of joining the ancient country's royal family far outweigh the disadvantages. The only hidden danger is that Lin Yuan does not truly possess the core royal bloodline. However, since blending and consuming the fierce sun source within his internal cosmos, fierce sun's radiance has spread from the internal cosmos throughout his body, naturally absorbing the radiance emitted by the eternal fierce sun in the external world. The fierce sun bloodline within Lin Yuan is also rapidly becoming purer, now almost reaching the standard of a normal royal bloodline. After a period of time, transforming to the core royal bloodline concentration is estimated to be not difficult. The divine skill fierce sun opening the sky is essentially the innate method of the ancestor of fierce sun. Constantly operating this divine skill can autonomously purify the fierce sun bloodline within. Of course, this bloodline transformation and purification only have an effect in this source world. As for the primordial spirit in the chaos void, it is useless. Firstly, the primordial spirit in the chaos void does not possess the fierce sun bloodline. The so-called purification of the bloodline requires the existence of said bloodline. Secondly, the chaos void does not have the eternal fierce sun above the source world sky. Lin Yuan can feel that the purification and refinement of the fierce sun bloodline within mainly come from being enveloped by the eternal fierce sun's radiance above the sky. Good. King Qibao couldn't help but smile upon hearing Lin Yuan's agreement. With your joining, Galaxy, in the future our royal family lineage can really let off some steam. Let off steam? Lin Yuan looked at King Qibao. Galaxy hasn't interacted with the royal family before, it's normal not to know. King Qibao explained, within the fierce sun ancient country, competition is very intense. Mainly the royal families competing with those heavenly venerates. The most precious resources are limited, the royal family wants them, and the heavenly venerates want them too. Although the heavenly venerates' ancestor bloodline is not dense, their strength is great, and their voice in the capital is not low. If not for the fact that every emperor of the ancient country must possess the royal bloodline, I fear our royal family would be suppressed by those heavenly venerates. King Qibao sighed. This matter is difficult to manage, belonging to the internal affairs of the fierce Sun ancient country, as most heavenly venerates also have the blood of the ancestor of fierce Sun flowing within them. Though somewhat diluted, they are considered ancestor descendants. If it were external enemies invading, the ancestor could be asked to sweep them away, but competition between the same bloodlines? The ancestor is reluctant to intervene. I see. Lin Yuan's expression became clear. He had heard early on that the heavenly venerates looked down on the ancient country royal family. This disdain likely isn't purely disdain but also involves conflicts of interest. The great power of the ancient country is mostly in the hands of the emperor, and as emperors, they will certainly favor their kin, but cannot be too biased. If they anger those heavenly venerates, it's not easy to handle. For instance, if in the wars between ancient countries, they collectively hold back, it would be very troublesome. Therefore, every emperor of the ancient country tries to maintain a certain fairness between the royal family and the heavenly venerates for the greater picture. Of course, the most core inheritance and resources of the ancient country are only eligible for the royal family to compete over, which is the biggest advantage of being part of the royal family. This is precisely why the heavenly venerates look down on the royal family. But with your talent, Galaxy, once you join the royal bloodline, touching upon our true royal inheritance and resources will surely advance you rapidly, perhaps breaking the heavenly venerates' shackles in the future. CTH Novelfire. Net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. King Qibao looked at Lin Yuan with anticipation. The so-called heavenly venerates shackle is the iron law that the royal family cannot step into being a heavenly venerate. No ancient country royal member has crossed into being a heavenly venerate so far. This is the ongoing reason for the continuous struggle between the royal family and the heavenly venerates within the ancient country. In terms of strength, excluding the emperor and a handful of royal members with ancient country foundation, the strength of the heavenly venerate side overwhelms the royal side. If a heavenly venerate were to emerge from the royal side, the situation between the two would be completely rewritten. I'll do my best. Lin Yuan nodded. Doing your best is enough. King Qibao grinned, holding great expectations for Lin Yuan. Without having been trained by the royal family, reaching this level, once exposed, what would it be like? Any strong beings, whether royal-blooded or heavenly venerates who joined later, experience a period of rapid advancement when first exposed to royal inheritance resources. King Qibao introduced various internal matters of the royal family to Lin Yuan in detail, then curiously asked, "Qijue showed me the footage of Galaxy's fight with King Lingshan. Since Galaxy Brother could kill King Lingshan, you must have progressed far in breaking the heavenly venerate's shackle. Could we spar a bit so I can witness it?" King Qibao looked at Lin Yuan with anticipation. He wasn't doubting Lin Yuan's strength. Many had seen the matter of killing King Lingshan, it couldn't be faked. King Lingshan, as a core royal family of Deling ancient country, wouldn't be acting to court Lin Yuan. King Qibao was simply curious about Lin Yuan's strength, since he had grown to the limits of the core royal family, knowing the difficulty of progressing further at this level. No problem. Lin Yuan nodded. He was also curious to see the methods of the core royal family of fierce Sun ancient country who had reached their limits. While King Lingshan was extreme core royal family, he belonged to Deling ancient country, and the core royal family's methods could vary between ancient countries. Good, let's go to a higher realm space. King Qibao immediately stood up. So, the two reached a higher realm space. Here, the area is vast, even the aftermath of heavenly venerates combat, descending onto the ground, would significantly diminish. Galaxy, I'll make a move. Red Pine King's form began to blur, vaguely hinting, as if a great sun condensed. Lin Yuan's mind slightly moved, the fierce sun divine body automatically activated, forming a vast fierce sun world. Rumble. Red Pine King also began to activate the fierce sun divine body, similarly forming a fierce sun world, and the two worlds kept colliding and sparring. The fierce sun divine body is the strongest physique of fierce sun ancient country. Every awakened member possesses unique fierce sun divine bodies, but in general aspects, they are similar. For example, the fierce sun worlds formed by the automatic operation of the divine body are abilities that every fierce sun divine body possessor has. The strength of the fierce sun world is related to the foundation of the fierce sun divine body. Boom, boom, boom. The two colossal fierce sun worlds kept colliding, and it was evident that the fierce sun world formed by Lin Yuan was stronger. Lin Yuan looked at the serious expression of Red Pine King, slightly enhancing the strength of the fierce sun world. The strength of the fierce sun world depends on the foundation of the fierce sun divine body, and also on the foundation of each strong being. The foundation is the base. Lin Yuan's internal cosmos has fused and swallowed the fierce sun source. His foundation is unprecedentedly strong, not just the fierce sun world. Even the simplest punch can unleash earth-shattering power. The infinite void inheritance enhances Lin Yuan's all-round abilities, rather than limiting to just one. Not good. King Chibao's expression slightly changed. He could clearly feel the pressure increase from Lin Yuan's fierce sun world, his own fierce sun world beginning to distort under the opponent's oppression. What kind of foundation is necessary to make the fierce sun world so powerful? King Chibao was shocked inside. Originally, he thought whether Lin Yuan used certain one-time methods to easily kill King Lingshan. But now, through the collision of their fierce sun worlds, he no longer had this idea. The collision between fierce sun worlds is entirely a contest between both sides' foundations, without any tricks. After all, the fierce sun world originates from the fierce sun divine body, and the divine body stems from oneself. External forces can enhance attack and defense but cannot directly enhance the fierce sun divine body. I concede, Galaxy. King Chibao persisted for a while, but in the end was unable to endure. If continued, he would have to resort to killing means, contradicting the sparring. Thus King Chibao spoke without hesitation, I concede. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1127. Departure, end of this volume, please subscribe. Conceded. Lin Yuan immediately retracted his fierce sun divine body, and the vast, blistering fierce sun world rapidly dissipated. Galaxy, with your strength, you'd likely rival those heavenly venerates. King Chibao couldn't help but say. For a core royal who has grown to their limit, at most, they can contend a few moves with a heavenly venerate by relying solely on themselves. As for full-blown combat, they certainly can't defeat a heavenly venerate. But at this moment, the feeling King Chibao had about Lin Yuan was in no way inferior to those heavenly venerates. Although Lin Yuan had not exerted his full strength, and both sides only collided in the world of the fierce sun. In an actual fight, there are still too many variables, as the strongest part of the heavenly venerates is not their fierce sun divine body. But King Chibao still had such a feeling. I don't think I am a match for a heavenly venerate yet. Lin Yuan said. Even if not, there's not much difference. King Chibao said with a tone of certainty. Upon hearing this, Lin Yuan did not deny it. It was indeed so. Right now, Lin Yuan's strength was already very close to that of a true heavenly venerate. Actually, to say that he could compare to them was entirely accurate, as Lin Yuan could completely contend with some newly ascended heavenly venerates. When I complete the second layer of infinite void and undergo a significant transformation of my internal universe, I can truly contend with the heavenly venerates and the chaos great saints. Lin Yuan thought to himself. Originally, the second layer of infinite void was only to make Lin Yuan's internal universe achieve a size approaching that of the chaos great saints. In terms of strength, he naturally was not yet the true opponent of a chaos great saint. But the fusion and devouring of the fierce sun source within his internal universe resulted in an unexpected evolutionary enhancement. causing him to possess the internal universe of a great saint level even before completing the second layer of infinite void. It's predictable. If the second layer of infinite void is completed, Lin Yuan's internal universe may surpass that of a normal chaos great saint's internal universe. By then, even if there are shortcomings in other areas, on average, he would still possess genuine great saint level combat power. Ah, good. King Qibao was delighted. The stronger Lin Yuan was, the happier he became, for it meant that the future foundation of the fierce Sun ancient country's royal lineage would be more solid. In the future, even if Lin Yuan doesn't break the shackles of the heavenly venerate, with his current strength, the royal family would still be confident when facing those heavenly venerates. Galaxy, when will you accompany me to the capital? King Qibao asked. He was eager to bring Lin Yuan back. Wait a little longer. Lin Yuan thought for a moment and said, based on the current speed of his bloodline's transformation and tempering, it would take a few more months before it reaches the concentration close to that of a core royal bloodline. By then, Lin Yuan could proceed to the capital without concern. All right. King Qibao nodded. He didn't ask much about why they needed to wait, as it was Lin Yuan's concern. This fluctuation of space and time? Below, King Qisong and King Qijue were receiving several young men and women. These young men and women had come along with King Qibao, aiming to support the war efforts here. King Qibao was a pinnacle core royal, as was King Lingshan. The peak combat strength of both sides was about the same. At this time, having an additional Great Lord was very important, not to mention that these young men and women belonged to the royal Great Lords, with combat ability akin to ordinary peak Great Lords. Is King Qibao sparring with Senior Galaxy? King Chiju's pupils narrowed slightly, and the expressions of the others also changed. King Qibao was acknowledged as a pinnacle core royal, as was Galaxy, whose strength was confirmed by defeating King Lingshan. These two were sparring? King Qibao. Several young men and women exchanged looks. Since they had followed King Qibao here, they evidently belonged to the same royal branch and naturally hoped King Qibao would win. The royal lineage of the fierce Sun ancient country was similarly divided into many branches, with those having a pinnacle core royal as their pillar considered to be powerful. However, the expressions of these young men and women changed. Did King Qibao lose? Although they couldn't sense specifics, they could feel the collision of those two extremely fiery auras, with the one belonging to King Qibao clearly at a disadvantage, and eventually, both fiery auras quickly dissipated. Clearly, the sparring had ended. Senior Galaxy is too strong. King Qisong couldn't help but feel, when Lin Yuan defeated King Lingshan earlier, perhaps it was due to the latter having only recently reached his peak. But King Qibao? He was a veteran pinnacle core royal. Beside him, King Qijue also showed astonishment in his expression. He could see that Lin Yuan and King Qibao were merely sparring lightly, yet the latter conceded so quickly, indicating just how powerful Lin Yuan truly was. Qisong, you're incredibly lucky. King Qijue glanced at King Qisong and said, if it weren't for Lin Yuan, the two of them wouldn't be sitting here leisurely chatting. Indeed. King Qisong nodded. Time slowly passed. In the blink of an eye, several months had gone by. Qingfen City was bustling with people, prosperity unchanged. At this moment, the topic about Great Lord Galaxy in Qingfen City was definitely the most frequent. Several months ago, the battle between two domains occurred. Great Lord Galaxy made a move, slaying the King Lingshan, reversed the situation, and saved Qingfen Domain and dozens of neighboring domains. Everyone, I know more intelligence related to that war. Inside a plain tavern, a group of 11th Order beings gathered. Among them a dark-skinned man spoke. Let's hear it. The other 11th Order beings were interested. They weren't even in the Self-Dao realm, so they didn't know much about the two-domain battle, only understanding that Great Lord Galaxy played a pivotal role, almost sweeping the entire battlefield single-handedly. Yu Chaolong was also among them. Having set off from the Yu family several months ago, he only arrived in Qingfen City today. Over the months, more and more information reached the Yu family. The feats of Lin Yuan were almost confirmed, And even on his journey, Yu Chaolong heard a lot of rumors regarding Great Lord Galaxy. Do you know how Great Lord Galaxy killed that King Lingshan? The dark-skinned man said proudly. King Lingshan is an ultimate core royal clan, his strength invincible among great lords. Even if Great Lord Galaxy could kill him, it would be after a hard battle? An 11th order being speculated. That's the most logical assumption. Actually, if it weren't for various rumors stating Great Lord Galaxy killed King Lingshan, the 11th order beings present would believe King Lingshan merely fled, not died. Killing an ultimate core royal clan? Is it that easy? Wrong, wrong, wrong. The dark-skinned man shook his head. Great Lord Galaxy killed that King Lingshan with hardly any effort. It was over in a few moves. Upon hearing this, all other 11th order beings looked at each other in disbelief. Killed King Lingshan? A few moves? Really? That's an ultimate core royal clan? Could it be Great Lord Galaxy has stepped into heavenly venerate? Many 11th order beings spoke up. I don't know about that, but I'm sure Great Lord Galaxy is definitely not heavenly venerate. The dark-skinned man said, if heavenly venerate made a move, the Daling ancient country over there wouldn't have done nothing. War between ancient countries, if it's only a localized conflict, the involvement of heavenly venerate level experts is prohibited. That's an unwritten rule. Because if one side deploys a heavenly venerate, the other side would certainly dispatch a heavenly venerate too. But now the Daling ancient country is silent. Evidently Great Lord Galaxy is not heavenly venerate. Don't believe it? The dark-skinned man glanced around and continued, you've all heard about how Great Lord Galaxy captured all great lords from the Daling ancient country, right? If the King Lingshan battled fiercely against Great Lord Galaxy, these great lords from Daling ancient country would have surely fled back by now. The dark-skinned man said, indeed. If King Lingshan didn't perish swiftly, those great lords from Daling ancient country would surely have reacted. Search * the novel of NT website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Many 11th order beings pondered and found the dark-skinned man's words quite reasonable. Great Lord Galaxy killed King Lingshan likely without spending much time. The battle must have been a one-sided crush. Otherwise, on Daling ancient country's side, not a single Great Lord would have escaped, all becoming captives of Great Lord Galaxy. Great Lord Galaxy. In the corner of the tavern, Yu Chaolong quietly listened. He had heard such discussions too many times along the way. The shock in his heart had never subsided. Sky-burning court. Lin Yuan sat cross-legged, the fierce sun source within his body universe constantly radiating fierce sunlight, resonating with the eternal fierce sun outside, consequently drawing strands of mysterious fiery aura into him. Under the diffusion of these strands of fiery aura, the fierce sun bloodline flowing within Lin Yuan quickly became rich and pure. Already reached the threshold of core royal family bloodline. Lin Yuan opened his eyes, a smile appearing on his face. Indeed, within fierce sun ancient country, there exist methods for purifying fierce sun bloodline, but none of them is anything less than extremely challenging, like becoming a king. Lin Yuan's capability to effortlessly purify and refine his bloodline is absolutely inconceivable. In fact, Lin Yuan's method of purifying and refining fierce sun bloodline, although seemingly simple, is tougher than becoming a king of an ancient country. First, one must awaken the fierce sun opening heaven divine skills, an ability derived from the ancestor of fierce sun, which probably even a king doesn't have. Secondly, possessing an infinite void, internal universe is even more daunting. These two conditions, each alone, are tougher than becoming an ancient country king. Both combined? Only Lin Yuan could achieve this. Time to leave. With a thought, Lin Yuan appeared outside Sky-burning court. Simultaneously, he created an avatar, stationed in Sky-burning court. Because the Daling ancient country will exchange ransoms for the captured Great Lord soon, Lin Yuan needs to leave an avatar here. Additionally, this avatar can handle numerous other mundane matters. Before the space-time teleportation formation in Qingfen City, King Qibao had long been waiting. Upon seeing Lin Yuan appear, he smiled and said, "Galaxy, is everything ready?" Ready. Lin Yuan nodded and said, "Then let's head to the royal capital. It's far more prosperous than this domain." King Qibao smiled. "Only in the royal capital can your potential, galaxy, truly be unleashed. Let's go." King Qibao immediately activated the space-time teleportation formation, connecting to the distant royal capital, and promptly stepped into it. Lin Yuan glanced at the space-time teleportation formation, hesitated not, and similarly stepped inside. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. A Supreme Core Royal? Then it's over. Qingfen Domain is likely overtaken. Qingfen Domain wasn't overtaken. A great lord named Galaxy intervened and killed King Lingshan. Numerous rulers from various major domains conversed, and amongst rulers, they all have connections. If an important piece of intelligence arises, it first spreads among them. King Lingshan's growth to supremacy already commands the attention of rulers and even great lords, let alone the fact that the Supreme King Lingshan was killed. It's rumored that this great Lord Galaxy is a Supreme Core Royal who traveled abroad, seeking further advancement, and now easily killed King Lingshan, implying significant progress. Impressive, though King Lingshan had not been in his supreme state for long, to easily kill him? Even the Heavenly Venerate would find it difficult. Which Supreme Core Royal of our fierce Sun ancient country is this great Lord Galaxy? The rulers immediately expressed interest. Knowing more about top-tier information related to fierce Sun ancient country is certainly beneficial. In the depths of the space-time teleportation area, dozens of figures have been waiting for a long time. The leading figure, a woman in a blue dress, glanced at the conversations among the many strong practitioners outside, her expression unchanged. A tall man standing behind lowered his voice, saying, "His Majesty sent us here to escort Great Lord Galaxy to the newly constructed palace." Did Great Lord Galaxy not have a palace before? Even core royals traveling abroad had a palace in the capital before their journey. Every king, whether royal or heavenly venerate, has a palace in the capital. The palace is prepared before the king's decree is issued. Yet this great Lord Galaxy needs them to lead to the new palace, suggesting there was no palace before. This is indeed strange. Could it be that before traveling abroad, Great Lord Galaxy was not a king? But any core royal, whether they reached supremacy or not, would be declared as king. Information regarding Great Lord Galaxy has already been spreading vigorously in the capital, with general consensus identifying him as a Supreme Core Royal. If not a Supreme Core Royal, who could kill King Lingshan at Great Lord level? Sir, the novel at website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Even those heavenly venerates in their Great Lord realm couldn't possibly achieve this. Heavenly venerates can suppress Supreme Core Royals, relying on their realm. If on the same level, heavenly venerates likely aren't matched against core royals. This is why every core royal desires to step into the heavenly venerate realm. But His Majesty values this great Lord Galaxy greatly, bestowing the palace right next to our ancient country's sun vein. I recall that many heavenly venerates wanted that palace, yet all were declined by His Majesty, only to now give it to this great Lord Galaxy? The third figure's tone carried a slight sentiment. The sun vein of fierce sun ancient country is a sacred place for cultivation, and the closer one is to it, the more benefits it brings. The Emperor's quarters were built upon the sun vein. The new palace bestowed upon Great Lord Galaxy abuts the sun vein, and the advantages for cultivation, though not quite as good as the Emperor's quarters, aren't far off. Many kings' palaces belong to the edges influenced by the sun vein. That palace adjacent to the sun vein has been eyed by countless kings, especially those heavenly venerates. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1129 Fierce Sun Capital, Seeking Subscription, _2 But generations of emperors of the ancient country were reluctant to bestow it, preferring it to remain vacant rather than grant it away. After all, it's extremely difficult for a normal king to completely perish and fall. Once bestowed, it would be hard for the fierce sun ancient country to reclaim it. All right, this is His Majesty's decision, not something you can discuss. The leading woman in green swept a glance at the figures conversing, speaking calmly. Yes. The figures immediately fell silent. At this moment, not far away, a massive space-time transference formation began emitting subtle space-time fluctuations, forming a space-time passage stretching from a distant place to here. It's coming. The dozens of waiting figures immediately perked up. They had been ordered to wait here for this moment, to welcome the Great Lord Galaxy. The space-time passage took shape, and several figures emerged from it. At the forefront were a red-bearded old man and a young man. King Qibao and the Great Lord Galaxy? The waiting figures immediately recognized King Qibao, and the young man standing alongside him should be the Great Lord Galaxy. The aura of the Great Lord Galaxy. I've never sensed it before. Could it be from the core royal family of an unimaginably ancient period? Uncertain. The dozens of figures each had different thoughts, and they immediately followed the woman in green to meet them. Lin Yuan and King Qibao traveled via the space-time passage from the distant Qingfen domain to arrive at this capital of the fierce sun country. Crossing such a vast distance in 10 breaths, even if space-time comprehension reaches the peak of the 9th realm, it's impossible. Lin Yuan thought to himself. He left an avatar in Qingfen City, able to roughly sense the distance from his original form. And this capital of the fierce sun country, Lin Yuan observed his surroundings, faintly feeling an inexplicable pressure. The entire capital of the fierce sun country seemed like an unprecedented secret treasure, capable of suppressing ordinary heavenly venerate level experts with slight operation. Buzz buzz buzz. An inexplicable fluctuation swept silently over. Don't overthink it, this is the sensing formation of the capital, to prevent experts from other ancient countries from infiltrating. King Qibao explained through sound transmission beside him. Lin Yuan nodded in acknowledgement. The capital is the most prosperous and core place of the fierce sun ancient country, as well as the most important location, requiring profound inspections for any expert entering the capital. So, I have passed? Lin Yuan asked. Naturally. King Qibao laughed. The abundant fierce sun aura within Lin Yuan directly precludes the possibility of experts from other ancient countries. The sensing formation of the capital, while routine, applies not only to Lin Yuan but also includes King Qibao within its range. After exiting the space-time passage, Lin Yuan saw dozens of figures walking towards them. Greetings to the Great Lord Galaxy. The woman in green leading them bowed respectfully, and the dozens of figures behind her followed suit. They did not know Lin Yuan's real name or core royal title, so they could only use the currently known Great Lord Galaxy to address him. King Qibao, seeing this scene, smiled and looked at Lin Yuan, saying, "These people were sent by His Majesty to greet you." His Majesty? Lin Yuan nodded. The His Majesty here refers naturally to the Emperor of the fierce sun ancient country, also the strongest existence in the entire fierce sun ancient country in terms of combat power. Of course, the Emperor's strength relies on external aid. His Majesty holds you in high regard. King Qibao said, "Come, I'll take you to your mansion." After King Qibao spoke, the woman in green and the others stepped forward, leading Lin Yuan and King Qibao onto a warship. Within the capital of the fierce sun country, void traveling is forbidden, even to a heavenly venerate. To reach a certain place, one must either fly honestly or use flying treasures such as warships. The latter requires application to the ancient country, and operating a warship in the capital is usually a symbol of status. The warship soared into the sky, heading beyond the space-time transference area. At this moment, numerous strong individuals, entering and exiting the space-time transference area, noticed the warship emerging from the depth of the area. That warship? Is it a royal warship? The 9-pattern imperial warship? Unless there is a personal order from His Majesty, no one can mobilize this worship. Who exactly requires the 9-pattern imperial worship for a reception? Many experts gazed up in amazement as the worship departed. The last time His Majesty deployed the 9-pattern imperial worship for a reception was after a grand victory against the Xianxia ancient country in a large-scale war, when the commander-in-chief of the fierce Sun ancient country returned to the capital to such treatment. Xianxia ancient country, like the fierce Sun ancient country and Daling ancient country, is one of the 6 hegemonic ancient countries of this world. But now, for the past hundreds of thousands of years, the fierce Sun ancient country has not engaged in high-intensity warfare with the other 5 ancient countries, mostly involving local skirmishes. Even if victorious, one would return to the capital to receive rewards, but the deployment of the 9-pattern imperial warship for reception would be impossible. On the warship, Lin Yuan overlooked the capital below. Haha, it's been a long time since I was on this warship. King Qibao was in a good mood, looking at Lin Yuan and saying, "It's thanks to your honor, Galaxy." Very soon, the warship stopped in front of a magnificent mansion. Lin Yuan and King Qibao stepped out, followed by the woman in green and dozens of figures. "Great Lord Galaxy, this is your mansion." The woman in green flipped her hand, producing a token, and respectfully handed it to Lin Yuan. "This is the token for the mansion. Refining it will allow you to control the entire mansion." Lin Yuan accepted the token, refining it within a breath. Through this token, Lin Yuan could sense every detail of this mansion and also control everything within it, including the great formations enveloping the mansion. The mansion's formations are derived from those of the capital and can draw upon a trace of the capital's formation power. "Galaxy, give this mansion a name." King Qibao said beside him. "A name?" Lin Yuan pondered and said, "Let's call it Galaxy Mansion." After all, his title is Galaxy, so naming the mansion Galaxy is normal and also very convenient. Sia the Nelfer. Net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. As soon as Lin Yuan finished speaking, he controlled the mansion token to engrave the word Galaxy atop the mansion. Galaxy Royal Mansion? The dozens of figures behind mumbled to themselves. Often, a mansion's name corresponds to the title of a conferred king. But Galaxy? They originally thought Galaxy was an alias, but now Lin Yuan using it as the mansion's name clearly meant he had taken Galaxy as his official title. "That's fine." King Qibao nodded. The royal family of the fierce Sun ancient country usually includes Qi in their official titles, such as King Qibao, Red Pine King, and King Qijua. But it's not absolute. It mainly depends on the thoughts of the conferred king themselves. "This mansion is now your abode, Galaxy. I wonder if I can have a look inside." King Qibao smiled and said, "This is a genuine sacred place for cultivation, right beside the sun vein of the capital. Yet His Majesty never had the heart to grant it to someone. Please enter." Lin Yuan immediately controlled the token to open the entrance of the mansion. Such intense fierce sun origin source. Entering the mansion, Lin Yuan immediately felt the scorching aura filling the space. Under this aura's coverage, Lin Yuan felt extremely comfortable, as if soaking in a hot spring, with his internal fierce sun bloodline circulating more smoothly. "How is it?" King Qibao asked, watching Lin Yuan with a smile. His mansion, although not filled with such fierce sun origin source, was not considered inferior. It was Lin Yuan's first encounter with such a cultivation environment. "Very good." Lin Yuan carefully sensed it, saying solemnly, "Cultivating in such an environment, Lin Yuan's efficiency in enlightenment would absolutely be surprisingly high. Especially in aspects related to the sun and fierce sun, his progress might improve by leaps and bounds." "Ah, then it's all right." King Qibao smiled brightly. "Tomorrow, His Majesty will meet with you, so just settle in for today." King Qibao said, Lin Yuan nodded. Just then, King Qibao seemed to receive some information, immediately looking at Lin Yuan and saying, "Galaxy, the final merits of the war between the Qingfen domain and the Purple Dream domain have been determined. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 11:30 Possession of the Ancestor of Fierce Sun. Request subscription. The merits have been awarded? Lin Yuan's eyes lit up. Sir the Nefire. At website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. In the war between Qingfen Domain and Purple Dream Domain, the Red Pine King was the commander. Qingfen Domain won, and logically, the greatest credit should go to Red Pine King. Yet, Red Pine King transferred all the war merits to Lin Yuan. The merits obtained by the war commander can be directly exchanged in the ancient country's treasury for resource inheritance, which is extremely precious. This is also the greatest confidence for the fierce Sun ancient country and its fervent kings to win the war. Why do the high and mighty heavenly venerates obey the ancient royal family? Isn't it precisely because of the numerous resources and inheritances within the ancient country's treasury? Your merit is 120,000, Galaxy Brother. King Qibao said, 120,000 merits, not a small amount. A normal heavenly venerate level secret treasure weapon costs about 78,000 merits. Lin Yuan nodded. In the war between Qingfen Domain and Purple Dream Domain, Lin Yuan reaped numerous rewards, with merits being only a part of them. Additionally, there are spoils obtained from various great lords on the battlefield, and the ransom from the Deling ancient country soon after, etc. The 120,000 merits have been distributed. If Galaxy Brother wants to redeem them, you can go directly to this place. King Qibao gave Lin Yuan a location, the entrance to the national treasury. Anyone who has merits with Fierce Sun ancient country can enter to redeem rewards. Good. Lin Yuan inwardly looked forward to it. The treasury of Fierce Sun ancient country encompasses all sorts of resource inheritances, and most importantly, most resources will never appear in the outside world. Lin Yuan was about to continue chatting with King Qibao. Suddenly, his expression changed as he looked toward the outside of the mansion. What's wrong? King Qibao asked. Someone is visiting me, Lin Yuan said. Having just arrived in the capital, without relatives or acquaintances, someone visiting so soon? Haha, I almost forgot. King Qibao smiled. This mansion has been watched by many, Galaxy Brother. Even if your majesty doesn't announce externally, it couldn't stay hidden. I see. Lin Yuan nodded. Moreover, the 9-pattern warship that greeted Lin Yuan was quite conspicuous and would definitely receive much attention. Should Galaxy Brother go out and take a look? King Qibao smiled and said, those who immediately come to pay respects to Galaxy Brother generally have good intentions. Then let's meet them. Lin Yuan nodded and immediately walked out of the mansion with King Qibao. Galaxy Brother. Galaxy Brother. One figure after another quickly walked up. Just now, I was curious who warranted His Majesty sending the 9-pattern warship for greeting, didn't expect it to be Galaxy Brother. No wonder, no wonder. Those who came to pay respects to Lin Yuan were mostly from the royal family, and at this moment, all these royals looked at Lin Yuan with great enthusiasm. Lin Yuan responded to each of the royal members one by one. Long before arriving in the capital, King Qibao had explained the situation in the capital to him. The capital of Fierce Sun ancient country mainly has two factions. One is the royal family faction, the other is the heavenly venerate faction. Within the royal family, there are 17 major branches. Each branch has an ultimate core royal member stationed. Outside the 17 major branches, there are some royal families, but they cannot form a scale and can only depend on the 17 major branch royals. Theoretically, based on Lin Yuan's strength, he could completely establish the 18th royal branch. The ones coming to visit me are mostly royals. As for those heavenly venerate followers, not a single one? Lin Yuan pondered to himself. Is it that the heavenly venerates don't know he took over this mansion? Obviously not possible. It seems those heavenly venerate kings do not have goodwill towards my presence. Lin Yuan understood the reason. The important resources of fierce Sun ancient country are undoubtedly tilted towards core royals. Each additional core royal equates to a portion of resources being distributed away, naturally causing displeasure among the heavenly venerates. Especially since Lin Yuan's exhibited strength exceeds that of a normal ultimate core royal member, walking far on the path of breaking the heavenly venerates' shackles. This makes the heavenly venerates even more wary. However, Lin Yuan is not worried. Within fierce Sun ancient country, the royal family is the absolute ruler, and the heavenly venerates, even if wary, dare not take any actions. After handling the royal family members who came to visit, Lin Yuan parted with King Qibao and headed to the entrance of the national treasury. Carrying a hefty amount of 120,000 merits, Lin Yuan was eager to see the inherited treasures within the national treasury. This is also Lin Yuan's main purpose in coming to the capital, to accelerate cultivation with the help of these resources. The capital of fierce Sun is vast like a spatial temporal maze. Lin Yuan, guided by the map given by King Qibao, finally arrived before a great hall. Lin Yuan looked at this great hall in front of him, with no one guarding outside, only 2 statue guardians standing. Lin Yuan carefully observed the 2 statue guardians and faintly felt an inexplicable aura fluctuation from them. These statue guardians possess at least heavenly venerate level combat power. Lin Yuan's brow faintly twitched, sensing a threat. Given Lin Yuan's current strength, only a heavenly venerate level expert could pose a threat to him. Bloodline and merit verified, permission to enter granted. As Lin Yuan observed the statues guarding the entrance, a voice faintly echoed in his ears. "Can I go in now?" Lin Yuan immediately proceeded forward. The entrance to the grand hall opened, and Lin Yuan stepped inside. Upon entering the hall, Lin Yuan found himself in an independent space. Nearby, flames gathered to form a phantom elder who smiled and said, "Descendant of fierce Sun, please select the treasure inheritance you wish to exchange. Please take a look." The phantom elder waved his hand, infinite flames intertwined, forming an array of treasure resource information. These treasure resource inheritances are ranked from high to low based on the merit required. The phantom elder said with a smile. Lin Yuan nodded, immediately starting to examine from the highest point. First in line was not a resource treasure inheritance but an opportunity. It required 1 trillion merits to exchange, an opportunity to become one with the ancestor. Being one with the ancestor, perceiving the profound mysteries of the ancestor level. Lin Yuan's eyes widened instantly. Become one with the ancestor? Become one with the ancestor of fierce Sun? The ancestor of fierce Sun is a 13th level temporal life form. To merge with such a being, viewing timelines from a 13th level perspective is something Lin Yuan wouldn't even dare imagine. What kind of existence is a 13th level temporal life form? How would they allow ants to merge with them? For training disciples, a 13th level temporal life form wouldn't need to train any disciples at all. If they were truly interested, they would create legacies like the creator of the Chaos Voids, Infinite Void, Legacy, and toss them out. Whoever obtains them can train. As for merging, not to mention 13th level temporal life forms, even Lin Yuan wouldn't allow other life forms to merge with him. After all, in a merged state, they can perceive Lin Yuan's physical body and soul, and many secrets are hard to hide. The ancestor of fierce Sun truly, Lin Yuan slightly shook his head, realizing that the ancestor of fierce Sun was indeed troubled to nurture his descendants, even offering a chance to merge. Although unsure how to increase the chance to survive time cycles, merging with a temporal life form and perceiving the past and future timelines would undoubtedly enhance understanding of the essence of time. Lin Yuan thought to himself. The drop of temporal bloodline left by the Moyu Tower Master allowed Lin Yuan to understand much. How much more if he were to merge with a living 13th level temporal life form? But 1 trillion merits. Lin Yuan's mouth slightly twitched. He previously thought carrying 120,000 merits was a huge fortune, but now compared to 1 trillion merits, it's almost negligible. It's important to know that the war between Qingfen Domain and Purple Dream Domain was almost single-handedly turned by Lin Yuan. Besides, he killed King Lingshan, the extreme core royal. Under such circumstances, Lin Yuan obtained 120,000 merits. Normally winning such a level of war, which means repelling the invasion of the enemy domain, the commander's merit would be around 20 to 30,000. Or even less. That's why King Qibao said Lin Yuan's 120,000 merits were already a lot. Over half of Lin Yuan's 120,000 merits came from killing King Lingshan, the extreme core royal. No matter what, the opportunity to become one with the ancestor of Fierce Sun must be grasped. Lin Yuan made up his mind. Although 1 trillion merits are extremely distant for Lin Yuan now, at least there's hope. This opportunity is countless times better than those great saints in the Chaos Void. Those unparalleled great saints in the Chaos Void paid unknown prices to pursue traces of 13th-level temporal lifeforms, while Lin Yuan could directly merge with 13th-level temporal lifeforms. What a rare chance is this! Lin Yuan gathered his thoughts and continued to look down. The following resources of treasure inheritance, opportunities to enter mysterious places, are equally precious, making Lin Yuan envious. For instance, the opportunity to train in this world's primordial lands? Lin Yuan once entered the immortal realm's primordial lands, where the rules of a world manifest truly, perceiving rules were as simple as eating and drinking. The training opportunity in this world's primordial lands? How many true rules must be manifested? Although this training opportunity does not require 1 trillion merits, it requires 90 billion merits, which is still somewhat out of reach for Lin Yuan. Additionally, there are some secret treasure weapons with incredible power. Lin Yuan calmed himself and continued to look down. For me, there's no need to exchange for secret treasure weapons. Lin Yuan thought to himself. He preferred to exchange for inheritance guides. Because comprehending the inheritance guides can equally be applied to the true form's primordial spirit incarnation in the Chaos Void, offering higher value for cost. As for secret treasure weapons, bringing them to the Chaos Void requires paying the price of world-breaking origin force. Although Lin Yuan currently has plenty of world-breaking origin force, having absorbed and accumulated over 1 million world-breaking origin forces during the cosmic cataclysm, there's no need to use the precious world-breaking origin force on this. Besides, compared to external forces like secret treasure weapons, Lin Yuan prefers enhancing his own strength. Each of the 9 Chaos Mystic Pattern diagrams in the first realm requires 10,000 merit points to exchange. Together, they require 90,000 merit points. As for the 18 Chaos Mystic Pattern diagrams of the second realm, each exchange costs 20,000. The 54 Chaos Mystic Pattern diagrams of the third realm, each costs 100,000 merit points. My understanding of chaos rules is close to the peak of the second realm, so there's no need to exchange the first 9 diagrams, and for the 18 diagrams of the second realm, only the last 1 or 2 need to be exchanged. Lin Yuan thought to himself. Given the constraint of only 12,000 merit points, he naturally had to be frugal. The Chaos Mystic Pattern diagram is explained in a sequence from shallow to deep based on chaos rules. 12,000 merit points, exchange for the last 2 diagrams of the second realm and the first diagram of the third realm. Lin Yuan looked at the diagrams, feeling the aura emanating from them, ensuring that the diagrams he purchased were parts of chaos rules he hadn't comprehended yet. For ease of selection, each Chaos Mystic Pattern diagram reveals a small part to prevent purchasing parts already comprehended. 54 diagrams of the Chaos Third Realm. Unfortunately, I can only exchange for the first one now. Lin Yuan glanced at the remaining 53 diagrams. Additionally, Lin Yuan was quite tempted by other filtered inheritance guides, but after careful consideration he chose the Chaos Mystic Pattern diagram. Still too poor right now, Lin Yuan thought, but for me, the first diagram of the Chaos Third Realm is enough for now. As for the later diagrams, I can wait until I accumulate enough merit points. King Qibao had told him that, as the core royal family, there's a fixed source of merit for everyone, including those heavenly venerates and kings, which is also the foundation of stability for the entirety of the fierce sun ancient country. Whether it's the royal family or the heavenly venerates and kings, though there is internal strife, it is mainly for the ancient country's interests. The so-called strife is merely internal. When it affects the overall interests of the ancient country, whether royal family or heavenly venerates, they will unanimously face outward. An illusory elder formed by flames patiently waited beside him. The treasury's inventory of treasures, resources, and inheritance guides is all-encompassing, and anyone making a first selection will be dazzled, and even if they can't afford it, there's no problem in looking around for a while. I will exchange for these 3 chaos mystic pattern diagrams. Lin Yuan looked towards the illusory elder and spoke. The illusory elder was slightly surprised. Descendant of fierce sun, are you sure you don't want to exchange for a superior weapon? Chapter 1132 Meeting the Emperor, Request for Subscription, _2 After experiencing the war between the Qingfen domain and the Purple Dream domain, Lin Yuan is now quite wealthy. Speaking of Lin Yuan's character, unless absolutely necessary, he wouldn't easily resort to action, so he was not in a hurry for weapons and armor for now. These are 3 chaos mystic pattern diagrams. The illusory elder smiled slightly, and in front of him appeared 3 diagrams covered in shining light, with chaos chi swirling around them. Descendant of fierce sun, please swear in the name of fierce sun not to spread these 3 chaos mystic pattern diagrams. The illusory elder looked at Lin Yuan. All right. Lin Yuan nodded. In the name of fierce sun, Lin Yuan repeated as the illusory elder requested. The moment Lin Yuan finished speaking, an exceedingly obscure gaze glanced at him from the eternal fierce sun above the firmament. Lin Yuan had a feeling that if he ever broke his oath, he would be struck by that eternal fierce Sunday. A strike from a 13th level time life form. Who could withstand it? Any means of resurrection would be futile, erasing everything from the source. In the Chaos Void, there also exists a method of swearing in the name of the Chaos Void origin, but how could that outcome compare to swearing in the name of a 13th level time life form? The Chaos Void holds no specific disdain, but a 13th level time life form does. No wonder there are so many inheritance guides in the treasure house, and not a single one has ever been leaked, Lin Yuan thought to himself. Even if powerful enemies from other ancient countries infiltrated the capital of Fierce Sun and had already obtained some inheritance guides, they still couldn't spread them out, rendering it somewhat pointless. I wonder what consequences I'll face if I leak these secret diagrams in the Chaos Void, Lin Yuan pondered. Without a doubt, as long as it's in this origin world, the moment the oath is broken, the ancestor of Fierce Sun would perceive it. But in the Chaos Void? It's another dimensional space where even a 13th level time life form can hardly make an impact. After making the oath, Lin Yuan deducted 120,000 credits and simultaneously accepted the 3 chaos mystic pattern diagrams. The fundamental veins of chaos rules manifest. The moment Lin Yuan received them, he was immediately struck by the chaos mysteries contained within. Compared to the chaos secret patterns within the war machines, these chaos mystic pattern diagrams were more direct and foundational. After pausing for a moment, Lin Yuan immediately got up and left, returning to the royal residence to delve deeply into these chaos mystic pattern diagrams. It's like the secret realms nurtured by the Chaos Void, producing special resources of invaluable worth. Overseeing these resource treasures meant securing them for the ancient country. 90% of the resources produced were to be handed over to the ancient country, while he could keep 10% for himself. In addition, based on the preciousness of each resource treasure, the overseer could receive regular credit income. It should be noted that credits in the Fierce Sun ancient country were extremely difficult to obtain. Lin Yuan managed to reverse the situation in the war between the Qingfen domain and the Purple Dream domain, yet the final credit evaluation was only 120,000. But by overseeing resource treasures, one could reap continuous credit rewards, naturally attracting many title-seeking kings. A valuable resource treasure was like a money tree. Title-seeking kings had substantial daily consumption, and the more precious the treasures they oversee, the more income they gained, greatly assisting themselves. Galaxy, here is the current map of all treasures in the Fierce Sun ancient country. Select 3. The Emperor waved his hand, and before him appeared a map of the entire territory of the Fierce Sun ancient country, with many areas gleaming brightly. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible.